go ahead and give me, well, I'm biased, man, and I'm impartial, so let's go ahead and go with the Wings Avalanche fight at the Joe Louis Arena when basically both benches got cleared. I could break those fights down, so that would probably what I'd be live tweeting.
That would have been great for about 400 of you that would have jumped in on that live Twitter action.
Oh, no. Oh, he got me. You honestly forget how big hockey was back in the early 90s, though, huh?
Yes.
Kind of forgot about that a little bit, didn't you?
I guess
it's all good, though, man.
I guess I did.
It's all good, though, man. It's not for you, and it's okay. It's okay. It's for a lot of people out there, though. Say golf so I can make fun of it, please. Please say golf.
Nah, it's not
okay.
golf.
Good.
Somebody had a great one, though. It was O.J. Simpson and the chase.
Yeah.
And I figure O.J. these days would be texting and driving.
For sure. He'd be doing his own little video. Yeah, right. he'd be trying to promote some kind of product. I mean, I don't know, is the O.J., but that was like a long process, though. I mean, you're just going to be like, all right, well, he's still driving.
But Twitter would have blown up. I mean,
no,
TV
Twitter
blew up.
Yeah, Twitter would have blown up, but like, would you have live tweeted? I mean, I just want to turn on TV and watched it. Like, I'm not. The last thing I care about is watching O.J. Simpson. All of a sudden, I wonder what people's thoughts are about O.J. Simpson driving down a highway.
Yeah, a little bit, but you don't experience Twitter like a lot of people do, though. I think, in fairness, you say you kind of put your phone down. So when you watch TV, that's not what people do. I mean, people have a second screen where they are either talking on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter. That's what people do when they watch games. You don't necessarily do that, but this would have been like a sporting event. Okay. The O.J. Simpson thing, I think. I mean, I think it would have been unbelievable. I'm not sure what would break Twitter, but that would have been close to breaking Twitter. I think. Now, from a sporting event standpoint, I was thinking about this, one of the first ones that popped in my mind, because I think everybody did go to the TV during this stretch, McGuire and Sosa. As that thing heated up down the stretch of that season, I was in college, and I remember just getting back from a class. Maybe it was the Cubs playing an afternoon game. You would, and I like baseball, but I wouldn't be watching the Cubs all the time or the Cardinals all the time. Yeah. That was appointment television to see one of those guys at bats, more so than even Bonds. Like Bonds, they started to do like the live look-ins at his at-bats when he was breaking the record and all that crazy season. But this was different because baseball had obviously been down the dumps, and these guys were bringing it back, and it was before the steroid era was a thing that they were launching home runs. It was more chicks dig the long ball kind of era. So I think that would be one which would have been pretty wild to see and would have lasted a long time. Would have been day in, day out. Kind of like, on a smaller level, the way in this pandemic, The Last Dance has been, like when people are watching it and talking about it, and it kind of breathes throughout the week and people continue to talk about it. Some of that's because nothing else is going on. You'd wonder how much The Last Dance would be watched if sports were going on, and how much conversation on a daily basis there would be about it. I think a lot, but I think it would take a little bit of a hit in terms of where it's at.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, people are fiending right now for, sports entertainment, and The Last Dance is kind of, giving that fix a little bit. Now, in terms of what I'm into, I mean, today is like maybe the Super Bowl of alternative sports for me because we got NXT tonight, we got AEW tonight, and we got UFC tonight. So, like, as far as the alternative sports fans are concerned, we're excited, man.
This is a good night.
This is like Christmas for us. Yeah, can't wait.
So AEW, UFC, what else did you say?
NXT.
Oh, NXT. That's right. NXT. So how are you going to watch all that?
You can go picture in picture and then have one on my cell phone as well. So I'm not worried about it. I'll probably DVR, honestly, because obviously I got to show up for my boy Tony Khan, right? So I have to watch All Elite Wrestling live. I'll probably DVR NXT, so I'll have the UFC and AEW at the same time, then watch NXT later.
Yeah, that is from an alternative sports kind of standpoint. It's a really good one. So that is tonight. We'll talk a little bit about UFC. This card isn't getting nearly the buzz. Is there a reason why? Is it appropriate?
It's not a pay-per-view, right? I mean, it's like a regular card on ESPN. So as far as the promotion's concerned, it's not as in depth, obviously, and maybe like the caliber of fighters on this card coming up. Probably not as good as the UFC pay-per-view
Some
card.
fights that you like, though?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Okay. Absolutely, man. There's always fights I like.
And I also have a question for you regarding a question that everybody was asking me on Saturday night about UFC. So that will come up in a little bit.
Look forward to that.
Yeah, I bet you've been asked it before. Okay. So I've got something out there today. How do you feel right now about sports coming back? And that sounds like okay, Brent, you've probably asked that question like 25 times in the last couple months. And maybe we have. But the reason I bring it up is I would say if you asked me last week and even the last couple of weeks, I saw a trend going to things opening up, right? And we've seen that phase 1 and now I guess into phase 2 in some parts. And you're like, okay, I can see this. The NFL schedule comes out, gives you a little momentum. They were able to get the draft. It's like, okay, yeah, we're going to buy the time. September rolls around. Heck, if they have to push the season a couple of weeks, okay. Major League Baseball, they're trying to get together. The talks about trying to get together. This was the last couple of weeks before they actually have gotten together. The NBA, well, they're trying these different things. They've got a couple of plans in place. UFC's humming back. That's going to open things up. That's going to be a little bit of a table setter. And, you know, golf's on the horizon. They've set their schedule. So that's kind of been the landscape the last couple of weeks. And so I've been very positive in saying, hey, listen, early July, I'm still a little bit mixed emotions about May and June and where this all lands. But by the early July, I feel like we'll maybe turn a corner in here. Well, I've done a lot of reading the last couple of days and a lot of watching, and you know, the guys that really follow the NBA, the guys that really follow the MLB, that know the ins and outs, college sports, not just college football, but college sports, and the continuation of news that comes out of that sport, whether it's football related or other sport related, like the MAC now saying they're not going to have conference tournaments for the next 4 years in the MAC in like 8 sports. I'll tell you what, I'm just being honest with you. I feel a lot different today. I feel a lot different. I don't know if I'm just reading all the negative stuff or just consuming it all at one time in the last 36 hours or so and getting these updates. I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm not as confident as I was the last couple of weeks ago. I have a not so great feeling that they're going to be able to fire this up like I thought they were going to be able to do. And it might have been a little naive for me to think that they were going to be able to pull it off.
Yeah.
But I'm just being honest with you, the way I feel about it. My gut right now is this is going to be a lot more problematic on the other side. And what I mean by the other side, the next 3 months, than I really kind of anticipated it might be a week or two ago.
What do you anticipate being problematic about it?
One, them actually pulling the trigger on it. Who's going to be first? And what I mean by that, UFC was first. That's fine. Golf might be first. That's fine. We're talking about very small, controlled, kind of individual sports, if you will. We're not talking team sports. And so when you talk about baseball and the NBA and then obviously football, who jumps that hurdle? Who jumps the team sport hurdle where you're in a locker room together with 15 players or 40 players in baseball and 53 in football, maybe even more if they expand some rosters, who knows? So that's what I'm having a little bit harder time thinking. And the doomsday stuff in college athletics, I will tell you, is concerning me. And not just about football, even though that's a problem. But now that we're seeing some of the opening up, we're obviously getting the news at the same time that California is like, wait, no, we're not doing anything for another 3 months. And there's a lot of news out of the Pac-12 or Oregon or other places that, you know, we might not even come back on campus all fall. And if they're not coming back on campus, then the NCAA says, well, it's going to be hard to do sports if you're not on campus. And I'm not saying you have to have everybody on board, but I think the more you don't have the majority on board, the more difficult it gets for sports.
So here's my issue right now with everything going on. And it's an issue that you can face on a football team. It's an issue you can face on your everyday life, or it's an issue you can face in your workplace. Not everyone's on the same page right now. Okay, Arizona just announced sports are back on, man. Let's go. Yeah. What are we waiting for? Sports are back on. California's like, hey, what are we talking about right now, man?
It's like we're living on two different planets,
pump your
right?
brakes, exactly. You know, and then obviously Georgia opened up last week. You know, Florida sports are on right now. Let's
Governor
go.
DeSantis just said, hey,
let's ride.
Pro sports,
yeah,
come on.
So
we'll entertain you. We'll host you.
So listen, like, no one's on the same page right now, and I get it. Like, each state has its own set of rules, its own set of laws. I get that. But in terms of sports, though, it all falls under one banner. So whether it's baseball, whether it's hockey, whether it's football, I mean, it's under the same banner. So to have one state go, well, come on, open. We're open for business. Let's go. What are you guys waiting for? And have another state to be like, nah, man, we're not sure. Yeah, that makes me nervous right now because you need the communication. You need everybody to be on the same page or this isn't going to work, man. Okay, so that's professional. Don't even get me started about college, students right now, because for the NCAA or whoever, for a university to go, you know what? we may not be having school right now, but you guys got to come back and play some football because, let's be honest, you guys generate a lot of money to the university, and if we don't have you, we're probably going to go bankrupt. Like, someone's got to tell these football players that, number one, the sheep will always outweigh the wolves, and they will always outman the wolves. And if you're a football player, a college football player, you know what I would say? If you really want me to come back, then you better pay me, because I'm not getting treated like a student athlete right now. I'm getting treated just like an athlete, okay? Last time I checked, I got a scholarship to go to school, all right? That's what it's all about. But if you come out and say, well, yeah, school, we'll see what happens there, but come play some football, of course all the kids can come play because, let's be honest, it's football and that's what they're there for, or a lot of them are. I don't want to put anybody in a category. But at the end of the day, you can't justify putting people at risk, that aren't students, whether it's the athletes, to say, well, we need you guys to go out there and try to save things. That's not right. If you're not getting paid, I wouldn't do it. You are an essential worker. You're a student athlete, man. You have to get it right.
It's a really good call. Where does that separate? Obviously, there's this pay to play or the likeness thing going on right now that's trending toward athletes getting paid. But this is different. This does feel like, hey, we need to go hire you guys to work, to entertain, create money, because that's how we operate in dollars. And again, how dire is it in college athletics when they're already pulling the plug on a lot of things? And I'm not talking about guys taking 10% pay cuts of their salary. I'm talking about when you look at the MAC alone and what they did. And I know it's the MAC. So people are like, the problem with college sports to me has always been this good old boy network. It's like, I don't care about the other guy. I don't care about the other guy. Well, the little guy really is what I'm saying. It's all the Power Five. It's SEC. It's well, that's great, and that's fine. But college sports is more than that. College sports, in terms of breathing life into college sports for a long time to come, is more than that. It's not just football. It's not just basketball, and it's not just Power Five schools. And so I took that one a little bit differently. Obviously I played at a small school. You did too. And for those guys not to have conference tournaments now for the next 4 years, we're not talking about like this spring they got canceled. We knew that. For the next 4 years. Now, what does that do? I don't know. I mean, do you need conference tournaments? Maybe you don't. Maybe that's the new wave. Maybe it works out well. But for them to already say that is damning. And there's a list. There was an ESPN article that kind of has a list of things that have already happened in college sports. We'll read it to you. Yeah. And it's not just the Cincinnati eliminating men's soccer.
Oh, there's a bunch of stuff.
It's a long stuff. A lot of stuff. But because it's not Alabama football, Florida football, Clemson football, we're not really talking about it a lot. So this underbelly of college sports, I think, has a chance to get really hammered by this thing. And I'm not sure has a chance. It might be already happening.
Well, and let's be honest here, Brent. Only two sports, I think, realistically, and maybe there's some schools that are different, but only two sports realistically make money for their schools, okay? Football for sure, obviously, and I think some basketball programs, depending on the school, can make money for the university. Everything else in terms of travel and, all those other things, I'm sure they actually lose money, all right, for those sports. So they depend on football and basketball to, generate the income to help the other sports out. So once again, I'm not just saying like, hey, you guys got to start a revolution or anything like that, but they need football to happen, okay? And I think some schools need basketball to happen, okay? Those are the two essential things. I didn't see this kind of energy for the wrestling teams. I didn't see this kind of energy for tennis teams, for softball teams. It was like, all right, well, COVID-19, sorry about your championships. Good luck to you. You guys can come back next year if you want, but you guys are done. We're shutting it down. But now, I mean, we're not out of the woods yet, but it's like, well, football season's right around the corner, so let's start getting some talks rolling here. So I'm just saying, if you're a college football player, man, I would band together, and I would say, you know what? You guys need us a lot more than we need you right now. Let's be honest. So demand to have your name licensed. I'm not saying demand $20,000, in a stipend or a per diem. No, just say, you know what? If you guys want us to come back, and risk ourselves, because we're not going to school, then go ahead and license our name. Meet us halfway. Like this, honestly, if something good can come out of this, Brent, these conversations right here between the NCAA licensing, I know they're already out there, but this can try to maybe, push it a little faster.
Yeah, speed it up.
Yeah, speed it up a little bit. Maybe something good can come of all of this.
All right, let's talk a little bit more about that. That's interesting. We'll talk a little college football and college sports and the landscape of what's going on right now. And I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer here, just a little reality of, I'm just being honest with you. I feel a little bit differently right now. I feel a little more mixed about this stuff starting up. And there's another thought I had about football. And I'll share that with you coming up. And this isn't just college football, but the NFL as well. That's coming up on the other side. I'll talk a little bit about where these sports leagues are today in terms of getting back to play, even though we've seen some signs of it. Have we seen enough? And is it reality? And are we living in a reality kind of world right now, even though Florida feels somewhat open? A lot of the rest of the country does not. So we'll talk about that, plus much, much more. UFC in Jacksonville once again tonight. I got a question about UFC for Austin coming up a little bit later on. And share with us, what would you like to live tweet from the 90s, if you were even alive, from the 90s, from a sporting event perspective that would have been off the charts good and maybe help break Twitter? We've got the O.J. Simpson chase. We got McGuire Sosa, Red Wings Avalanche. Some good stuff from the 90s that maybe it is Michael Jordan and the Bulls. Yeah. Maybe it's Rodman.
Oof, now we're talking.
You know?
Well, I mean, you remember when Wildman had his book release and he wore a wedding dress? Like, dude, that would have broke Twitter.
That might have broke Twitter.
Guy showed up to his book release wearing a wedding dress and makeup, man. That was insane.
I'm not sure Twitter would have been ready for that.
No, for sure.
Hopefully you're ready for the rest of the show right here on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Another nice day today, mostly to partly sunny with the afternoon high around 80, a little bit cooler at the beaches. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jacks from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
Weather is brought to you by Beards Diamonds. Right now, get 5 years, 0 interest financing on anything in the store. Beards Diamonds. Hey, Jacksonville, are you ready for some good news? Right now, you can score tremendous savings during the construction sale at Arlington Toyota. You choose 0 down with low payments or no payments until 2021. Now that's huge. Get to Arlington today, where you can drive away in a Toyota RAV4 XLE for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments until 2021. That's a pre-owned RAV4 for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments until 2021. How about a Toyota Tacoma for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021? That's a pre-owned Tacoma for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021. Plus, with Arlington's Credit for Everyone program, if your Beacon score is from 450 to 850, Arlington's getting almost everyone approved. And you get Arlington's 30-day exchange policy on any vehicle you purchase. As always, your safety is Arlington's priority. So go see them today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com. May offers for full details.
This message is brought to you by Community First Credit Union.
Stop for a minute. Relax. Take a breath. Jacksonville is going to be just fine. Things are changing, and change can be difficult sometimes. Change in how we live our lives, how we run our businesses, our jobs, our kids, our schools, our neighborhoods. But this is Jacksonville, and you won't find a more dedicated, compassionate, and caring community anywhere. From Nassau to St. John's, from West Side to the beaches, God knows we can weather a storm, and we can get through this as well. All of us at Community First realize that no one has all the answers to what we're facing. But after more than 80 years in Jacksonville, we do know this. Things get better when people stick together. So that's what we'll do, and we'll get through this to a better, brighter future in Jacksonville.
This is a CMG Open for Business report. During these changing times, it's challenging for businesses across North Florida, big and small, but businesses are adjusting to meet your needs in a safe and comfortable way. Here's today's list of businesses that are open for you. Biscotti's Avondale, BB San Marco, Beaches Concrete, Ag Pro Pest Control, A&G Outdoors, Units of Jacksonville. If you're open for business, let us know by emailing us at openjax@cmg.com. Together, we're getting through this. The Child Cancer Fund salutes the medical professionals caring for patients on the front lines of pediatric cancer care today and every day. In these uncertain times, the one thing constant is our collective dedication to our community. Your support allows the Child Cancer Fund to provide direct assistance to children and their families who are fighting pediatric cancer. If you're in a position that allows you to give, please know that every gift helps, and 92 cents of every dollar goes directly to Northeast Florida families. Visit childcancerfund.org. That's childcancerfund.org to give today. Hey, Jacksonville, are you ready for some good news? Right now, you can score tremendous savings during the construction sale at Arlington Toyota. You choose 0 down with low payments or no payments until 2021. Now that's huge. Get to Arlington today, where you can drive away in a Toyota RAV4 XLE for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments until 2021. That's a pre-owned RAV4 for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments until 2021. How about a Toyota Tacoma for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021? That's a pre-owned Tacoma for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021. Plus, with Arlington's Credit for Everyone program, if your Beacon score is from 450 to 850, Arlington's getting almost everyone approved. And you get Arlington's 30-day exchange policy on any vehicle you purchase. As always, your safety is Arlington's priority. So go see him today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com. May offers for full details.
Hello?
Hey, boss.
Why are you calling me?
Well, I was gonna come over, but I thought I should be practicing social distancing.
Oh, that's responsible of you.
Thanks. So I'm calling because I want to read you this new article in the Crooks of Us newsletter.
If it's about Safe Touch security, I don't want to hear it.
Boss, you'll want to hear this. The headline reads, Safer at Home with Safe Touch Security.
Safer at home with Safe Touch?
Yeah. It says, with people staying home more than ever these days, Safe Touch Security is the answer for peace of mind at home.
Yeah. The guaranteed response time, the two-way communicator, the video monitoring.
Yeah, and more.
Great. So what you're telling me is, whether they're home or not, the Crooks of Us motto is stronger than ever. Stay away from Safe Touch houses.
It's written in stone, boss.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Take a look out your window right now. Things appear basically the same, but you know they're not. Same with your business. There have been changes, some might even be permanent. Only time will tell. But in the meantime, how will you respond? Stay the course, or will you explore the new opportunities in front of you? At Cox Media Group Jacksonville, we know that those who explore often discover wonderful new things. If you're willing, we're able to help. Contact us at 245-8732 or email buildjax@cmg.com. And let's build Jax.
They say it should be impossible for bumblebees to fly because their wings are too small for their bodies. But bumblebees don't care. They just fly. Bright Expectations is dedicated to helping our Florida residents with special needs and unique abilities find the resources, support, and inspiration that they and their families need to break barriers and achieve their dreams. Visit www.brightexpectations.com to start your journey today.
This message is sponsored by the Florida Department of Health, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
This is a CMG Open for Business report. During these changing times, it's challenging for businesses across North Florida, big and small, but businesses are adjusting to meet your needs in a safe and comfortable way. Here's today's list of businesses that are open for you. Auto Basics, Advanced Carpet Cleaning, Integrity Spine and Ortho, Hearst Chiropractic, Disney Body and Paint, Grover Crane Service. If you're open for business, let us know by emailing us at openjax@cmg.com. Together, we're getting through this. Aren't you ready to celebrate life again? From birthdays to anniversaries, nothing is as memorable as a one-of-a-kind piece of jewelry from Beard's Diamonds.
Beard's announces our most exciting offer ever.
5 years, 0 interest, and no money down on any purchase.
How about a $6,000 Takuri or Veragio ring? You pay just $100 a month. Or a pair of diamond studs for $3,000? You pay just $50 a month.
Shop the largest showroom in North Florida with plenty of room to social distance, fully staffed and locally owned at the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. There's a good chance you have a smart speaker, so use it with ESPN 690. Stay up to date on the Jags and all things sports by telling Alexa or Google to play ESPN 690. It's as easy as that. Make sure you listen weekdays 3 until 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
I really feel for the league and Adam and everybody who's trying to make this decision, because this is not something as simple as a a natural disaster in terms of weather, like a hurricane or something. This is a virus. There's so many ramifications. I'm sure there's legal liability issues, and more than anything, Adam Silver is just a really good person, and I'm sure he's considered the safety and life of every person involved has to be taken with great care before you make any decision.
That is Steve Kerr, Golden State Warriors head coach, star of The Last Dance as well.
Yeah.
It is really unbelievable. It'll be a great trivia question like 40 years from now. Everybody knows it now, but I mean, for him to have played on the 72-win Bulls and then coach the Warriors, and that's amazing. I mean, just amazing. And I know it's like, we knew that.
Yeah.
I get it. My point is, like 40 years from now, people will forget that.
Yeah.
And it's a good reminder in The Last Dance that Kerr has been a special part of some historic teams.
Dude, props to Steve Kerr, too. I mean, we didn't talk about this at all during The Last Dance, but when he stood up to Michael Jordan, and kind of punched him a little bit, because let's be honest, Steve Kerr's a lot of things. Intimidating or physical is probably not one of them. But the fact that he stood up to Michael Jordan, and obviously got, punched in the eye for it. But I think, he kind of earned MJ's respect out of that. That's what it's all about in team sports.
Yeah, not only that, but it can be like that in the business world, too, with bosses or with coaches or with whatever else, that they're almost, some people act that way. Like they want you to come back. They don't want you to just lay down. They want you to challenge them. Now, they don't want you to punch them, but they don't want you like being in a disrespectful way. But there's people I've worked for in this industry that they respect you more when you come back at them a little bit with why you did something, or you stand for something, or there's some principle behind it. And I think that was a little bit Kerr to Jordan in that respect. The thing I loved about it, really, where I gained more respect for Jordan, is on the way home he called him.
Yeah.
I'm not sure every star athlete, especially star and iconic athlete like Michael Jordan, would do that. Maybe they would. Yep. But I thought the fact that he called Kerr and apologized was actually one of the cool anecdotes of that episode.
Have I told the Lance Briggs story where I stole his chair, supposedly?
No.
Okay, so my first week in Chicago, we're back at the facility. We're getting ready for training camp, and it was our first defensive meeting with Mel Tucker. And, it was my first time in the building. So literally I go sit down in a seat with my defensive ends or my outside linebackers around me, and I'm just sitting down. Well, Lance Briggs comes in at the time. I mean, Lance Briggs was on the back nine of his career, but he was still Lance Briggs, right? Like, I mean, he's arguably one of the greatest Bears linebackers of all time. And you walk in the practice facility, like there's big portraits of him, like Puz would be here in Jacksonville.
He's Darryl Smith kind of underrated,
exactly,
though.
for sure,
right? Because people don't talk about him like that.
But people in Chicago, though, appreciated him,
do.
right? Yeah. So I'm sitting down, and he comes in or whatever, and I feel a tap on my back. And I turn around as Lance Briggs. I haven't even introduced myself yet to him, my new teammate. He's like, hey, what's up, man? You're in my seat. And I look around, I'm like, all right, well, Austin, this is one of those moments. This is one of those moments where either you stand up for yourself and you say, no, this is not your seat. This is the seat that was open when I sat down here. Deal with it. Or you get punked and you find a new seat. And where I was coming from, I was going on my fifth year in the NFL, and I felt like, I've earned the right to take a seat that doesn't have your name on it, right? So I turn around and I go, no, actually, man, this seat was here, so I'm taking this seat now. And he's like, oh, for real, that's how we're going to do it here. So I'm like, all right, well, we might get in a fight here. We're literally we're getting ready to start the meeting. Tucker's, walking to the front of the room. Briggs is yelling at me. I'm like, all right, here we go. What a good first impression. I'm about to get in a fight with probably the most famous defensive guy on the team right now outside of Peanut Tillman. And I'm just like, no, man, I literally your name's not on it. This is my seat, and I'm not going to get punked. I'm not some rookie who can just punk like that. And he goes, okay, we'll take care of this later. I'm like, cool. Sounds good. I go, let's take care of it later. So I turn back around, we go through the meeting and everything. We walk to the locker room, and it's awkward, man, right? Like, no one's really talking to me because, once again, I'm the new guy in town, right? And I just kind of went back and forth with Lance Briggs a little bit. We get on the field, we get through stretch lines. I'm not worried about it. I'm just trying to focus on what I have to do, play outside linebacker. I'll never forget, man, before practice started, Briggs comes up to me, he's like, hey, man, I see you, dude. Like, he's like, hey, I wasn't trying to test you or anything. I didn't really know who you were. I thought you were actually a rookie. So, hey, props to you, man. That's your seat going forward. And, I look forward to, playing with you and everything like that. So,
how about that?
Yeah, so it was cool, man. But, it was one of those instances, man, where, the whole team's the whole defense is kind of around you, right? And everyone's kind of looking back a little bit.
What's going to happen here?
Yeah, so everyone faces those, those moments sometimes.
Yeah, well, what's interesting about that for you is, you're in a very much can't win situation because you're a new guy and you're challenging the guy that's been there for a bit.
Captain.
And so you better go get 3 sacks in practice that day, or you might get cut.
For sure. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, and thankfully, too, Tuck knew me before in Jacksonville. So if I had one thing going for me, Tuck kind of got my personality a little bit, and Tuck understood what was going on. So he kind of let us handle it internally, if you will.
That's pretty good. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Coos here on a Wednesday edition of Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Don't try this seat. You stay in your own seat.
I'll see what I can do. Well, I've had plenty of guys sit in my seat. We had Ryan Davis in this seat. We had a couple of guys in this seat.
The beauty is now nobody's sitting in our seats.
No, for sure.
Not
just us, man. Nope.
And nobody's coming in here.
Yep. And John Bachman's seat still remains open, vacant, if you will.
It is vacant.
Yeah.
That's for sure. A little bit later, you mentioned some of those kind of conversations, and I think. It was DK Metcalf who talked to rookies, and Gardner Minshew was part of that, kind of the rookie symposium over Zoom, I guess, or Microsoft Team or whatever they did it on. But so one of the messages from Metcalf was take the last seat as a rookie.
As a rookie, for sure.
And that was an interesting message. I'm not going to get into it today. We're not going to get into it Friday. You're going to get into that a little bit more. And also kind of what you would share with rookies about your playing days, which will be pretty interesting.
And it's going to be really cool, man, because, obviously on the show, we've reflected a little bit on my career because I haven't really just took time to stop and smell the roses, if you will. Man, that was pretty cool playing football. But when we talk about it, Brent, we talk about the locker room, I get a chance to just share some of those stories. But now, essentially what I'm doing is I'm looking back at my 5 years of playing in the NFL, and I'm kind of analyzing it, saying, all right, what would I have done differently here? What would I have done differently here? And I'm going to share that on Friday, and hopefully some first-year guys out there hear it, and it helps them out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that and interested on that part. See, that we actually produce the shows days in advance, people.
Yeah.
That we're planning on Friday already. How about
First time during the whole quarantine we've actually thought of something in advance. So
that's right. Yeah. We are living day to day.
Day to day, man. It's the only way to do it.
So let's just a couple minutes. You brought up something, and it's not the first time you brought it up, but we really haven't taken a deep dive into pay to play in this kind of situation. The college football world has made it abundantly clear that they need to play a college football season. They want to play a college football season. We're already seeing the trickle-down effect, and we'll talk about that side of it a little bit later on in the show. But college football, because they make so much money, and especially the Power Fives, but even more than that, make so much money during college football season that supports so much else on campus that they need to play. Whether it's a spring season, whether it's a pushback season, they are going to find a way to play. And what you've seen it as, and it's very true, is this opportunity to show how much of a commodity, if you will, a player in the college game is in football. Yeah. And you might be able to translate this to basketball as well, I think, because of March Madness. But since that season's past us and way down the road, let's really specifically talk about football players. Northwestern banded together a couple years back.
Correct.
Kind of started these kind of conversations, or really amped it up. I shouldn't say start. They've been conversations for a long time. We now know that states like California and Florida and others have jumped on board in terms of the likeness and image and getting paid. Recently, Reggie Bush came out and said, I would have made $4 to $6 million off mine in college. I always say, what would Tim Tebow have made?
Yeah.
And we can countless examples of it.
Well, and there's that kid from UCF that got, suspended because he had a YouTube video.
Yeah.
Where he was being creative and making money off it.
And most recently, Zion Williamson, who's in the news in a different way, but it sheds light on how much he could have made in that freshman year at Duke as well, just from a likeness standpoint.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is we've had these conversations, but could they push it forward even more to the pay to play? If you are bringing us back to campus, or if your main motivation to getting people back to campus, students back to campus, is so you can create this windfall of money off college football, well, that's because of us. Yeah. That's not because of you, the presidents. It's not because of you, the board of trustees. That's not because of you, even the coach. It's because of the players on the field that you need. You need us. We are a valuable commodity to you for you to be able to make those dollars. I don't disagree with you. I don't know if they can speed it up and get it done so fast. They would really have to take one heck of a stand, and that's risky, and get on the same page. And where it's not like they have a union, right? I mean, the college athletes don't have a union.
For sure.
how would they be able to do this? It would take somebody like a Clemson or Alabama or Ohio State. It would take a group of them like that to really turn this thing on its head.
Yeah.
But it's a great concept.
But here's you brought it up, but here's the problem with that. Like, I can't foresee Clemson just saying, you know what, let's cancel the college football season until everything gets squared away. Like, Clemson, they want to play football.
Absolutely.
Okay. Alabama, they want to play football. So it's hard for me to see that. Yeah, exactly. I mean, pick your Big Ten SEC school. I think they all want to play football. But I guess what I'm trying to get more at is the players, right? Because the players are valuable to a university, but that value is going to increase tenfold now because you're starting to see just how valuable they are. We're talking about in the middle of a pandemic, and we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks or so, but we're talking about a pandemic where they're asking these players to go back just because they're trying to salvage some income and help the university out. Like, to me, that's a big value, Brent. To me, you're a big commodity if schools are asking you to do that. When you don't know the future, when you don't know the landscape right now, when you have states like California saying, man, we're done for like the next couple months or so, okay? And if I'm a football player, I can easily go, well, we're going back to school, and we're going back to play football, but what about those guys West Coast? Why aren't they going back right now? You know, so you raise these questions. When you start raising the questions, you can band together. My issue is this, though. I think ideally what you'd want to happen is the players to speak out and be like, hey, we're not coming back unless we have something guaranteed, like our name getting licensed and things like that. But the problem is that you need it from the upper echelon guys, right? You need Trevor Lawrence, okay? You need all these Heisman hopefuls to come forward and say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to play football until this gets squared away. That's hard to ask him to do that, right? Because in my opinion, it's kind of like the UFC right now, right? Like the UFC, they want to get a union going. But the top guys like the Conor McGregors, like the Nate Diaz's, they could care less, man, because they're making money. Like, they're doing fine. It's the lower tier guys that are suffering. It's the guys that aren't going to get drafted that are suffering from this. The Trevor Lawrence is out there. I mean, do you think they really care about, sitting out the year? Like, maybe, but at the end of the day, he's getting drafted. Like, we know Trevor Lawrence is going on to bigger and better things. So who's to say, hey, Trevor, do you mind taking one for the team and saying, you know what, I'm not going to play unless we get, our names licensed? I bet it's kind of hard for Trevor Lawrence to come along with that. But I'm saying if the entire teams started banding together and saying, we're not going to show up unless we get something guaranteed, like our license on our name, well, you might have something there.
Isn't it?
It's called the revolution.
Yeah. Couldn't you make an argument, though, that Trevor Lawrence actually has as much power right now to do something like that than he's ever had? He's the number one pick in the 2021 draft.
Sure.
Like, he knows it now. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have to play. If he doesn't have a season, he's not getting hurt by this.
True.
He is the number one pick in the draft. In fact, he might get helped by it because a guy named Tua was the number one pick until they played a season.
Yeah.
And it hurt him a little bit.
Good point.
Just a little bit. I mean, it may have hurt him longevity-wise just because he played and hurt the hip, but it didn't hurt him too much draft stock. But he would have been the number one pick. It obviously helped a guy like Joe Burrow by playing. I mean, he would have been a fourth-round pick if he didn't play this last season or wherever you want to put him. But I actually think you could argue that some of those upper echelon guys have more leverage now to do that. That's why it might be the time to do it. I also think it's not necessarily about, like in the NBA recently, they had a call between Steph Curry and Durant and LeBron and all those big name guys. I don't know if it's necessarily that you need those guys, the players individually. Now, Trevor Lawrence would help. I think it's more you need a team or two from the people that we would suspect as the big players in college football. Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, LSU, the defending. Imagine if the defending national champ said, hey, we ain't playing. Until you give us our likeness, sweeten the pot, whatever it might be. I'm not playing.
Yeah.
You're telling me the college football world would welcome back the season with open arms without the defending national champions playing or without a Trevor Lawrence-led Clemson team who's been such a big part of the landscape the last 5 years, without Ohio State, who plays a major political role, I believe, as well behind the scenes in college football and obviously brings a lot of money and fandom to the table. Those are the teams. And I'm not saying that the Georgias and Floridas and Michigans wouldn't help either, Penn States. But I think if you took one of those kind of teams, those players said, you know what? We ain't doing this unless you help change it. The problem is you're not going to get it. It's not going to happen because it's hard to get that many players on the same page and say it's worth it. Why would LSU players say that? LSU just had Joe Burrow and its entire offense make it to the NFL because of last year. Now, some of those guys might have been in the NFL anyway. I'm not sure the entire offense would be in the NFL, either drafted or as undrafted free agents, if it wasn't for last year.
Sure.
So it's really hard to be an LSU Tiger and say, well, I want to do what those guys did because look at the opportunity they created for themselves. I need to play. I want to play. I can increase my stock. It's just a difficult thing to do. College athletes don't have a union. College athletes don't have meetings like this across campuses and other schools and programs. They're not organized enough to be able to pull it off. Northwestern was.
But it's Northwestern. Let's be honest. But I'm saying, I mean, it's I think it's forward thinking. I mean, it's a pretty prestigious school in terms of that.
You would it would just be so hard to do. So my point, I think the point is spot on. I think it's fascinating to think of. I just think it won't happen. And that's where I guess the college football system is protected a little bit, and the athletes kind of hurt themselves. The student athletes hurt themselves because they're not willing to take that kind of leap. And history says no matter what you're talking about, you need somebody to take that kind of leap. You need a group of people to be willing to do it.
This is where, in my opinion, a coach could come forward. Like if there was a coach out there, and obviously a Power 5, a coach who is well known in the game to come forward and say, you know what? We want something in return for this, right? Because I don't agree with sending my guys back to practice right now. I don't agree with sending my guys back onto campus unless we have something to show for it. Like, to me, it'll take a coach, and then the team obviously rallies around that. Other teams see it, and then you start the trickle effect from there. A few players here or there, I don't think it's enough to make the difference, obviously. Maybe if it was like a big player like Trevor Lawrence, but you're right, Brent, and obviously I'm just wishful thinking here, but in my opinion, this is the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to do it.
This is the opportunity. It's now or in the next couple of years or so. But what better way to get what you want than now? Okay, and you got to think how it's going to trickle down. So the football team gets what they want, right? Because it's college football. Well, then after that, then all of a sudden, maybe next year, the basketball team's going, well, if football players are getting their names licensed, where are we at? And then all of a sudden, the soccer team's doing it. And then all of a sudden, all these other teams are doing it. And eventually, you get what you want and players getting their name licensed. And we talked about it before on the show, Brent. There really are no cons to players getting their names licensed, all right? I think it's a genius idea. Many people have talked about it. So there's no con in doing it. So why not just push for it right now then? That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's a great point, man. I think, again, the timing is right. Will they do it? And the landscape anyway of college athletics is changing. I think we're seeing it change, and we'll have a little bit more about that outside of the football world coming up a little bit later on. So I want to continue to talk a little bit about the feeling today that at least I have. I don't know if the rest of you are in the same boat, that, we are seeing some things here in the state of Florida open up. Yet if you look at the grand landscape of especially the major sports, NBA and Major League Baseball as of now, and then the college football and college sports landscape, I don't know if it feels as good as it might feel about everything else right here in the state of Florida opening up. I don't get that sense, and it's a weird sense of mixed emotions instead for me about looking toward the fall and seeing where we are, even late summer, and where we are. We'll continue that discussion. But as we talk about things reopening in St. Augustine, the World Golf Hall of Fame is reopening. On Monday, we welcome Brody Waters, Vice President of the World Golf Hall of Fame and Museum, into the program here on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Brody, this is Brent Martineau and Austin Lane. Thanks for taking a few minutes, man.
Thanks, guys. Great to join you.
Yeah, Monday will be a day of reopening of sorts. Take us through it for the World Golf Hall of Fame down in St. Augustine.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on. We are excited to be reopening. Like so much of this area and really around the country, the World Golf Hall of Fame, closed their doors to the public on March 16th, and it's been a long 2 months, as we've kind of sorted through this, and as part of the state of Florida's reopening process, museums were actually allowed to open up on May 4th. We really wanted to make sure, first and foremost, that the health and safety of our guests and employees was our top priority. So we felt like we needed to do some things around the Hall of Fame to be able to provide that environment. So we've been doing a lot of different new measures throughout the Hall of Fame, some social distancing practices that'll take place within the museum, installation of plexiglass at all the points of sale, increased cleaning measures and sanitation stations throughout the museum. Guests will get stylists to use, free stylists for all the guests that they can use on all the touch screens. a lot of different new procedures put in place so that we're really confident now that we're going to be able to open on Monday the 18th and provide really an enjoyable experience in a safe and comfortable environment. And, Brent, you guys talk sports every day, so I know you all know this more than anything. But, for us, with sports sort of kind of on pause now, the Hall of Fame is going to be a place that is going to let fans relive some of golf's greatest moments and really celebrate the game's greats in a safe and comfortable environment. So we're excited to be able to reopen to the public here on Monday.
Brody Waters with us here on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. He's from the World Golf Hall of Fame down in St. Augustine and the museum, of course. Brody, I think you just said it. It's not just relive golf, but it's kind of get out and do something. I mean, that could be a nice little boom for you guys. And I think sometimes people take for granted it's right down the road. It's right in our own backyard, and it's the World Golf Hall of Fame. I mean, the greats that we talk about, from Jack Nicklaus to Tiger Woods to today's phenomenal golfers. And I do think sometimes people are like, oh, yeah, that's right there off 95. I mean, exit 323. It's easy to get to. This could be a nice little promotional opportunity for the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah, it really might be. But, we're excited to – I think, we typically – our audience primarily is out-of-towners coming down to Florida for golf vacations or traveling south, if they're the snowbirds. So this gives us an opportunity to really cater towards the local market. And we're doing some things to really try to express our, appreciation and just being kind of good community partners. So one of the things we're doing is starting on Monday for all Northeast Florida residents, we're going to have 50% off admission. So it's a great opportunity to come in. For those who aren't familiar with the facility, spacing's not going to be an issue. It's 70,000 square foot facility.
Yeah. It's perfect for social distancing.
Yeah, it is built in there. And, I know we've had some incredible weather the past, several weeks and really a couple months, but inevitably the heat is going to come. So, everyone still needs to get your steps, get your exercise, and hey, why not walk through 70,000 square feet of some of the greatest golf memorabilia and stories that you've ever seen?
Absolutely. Brody Waters with us. As we wrap up, I do want to say as well, you guys are going to honor the service of first responders and frontline workers, complimentary admission. How will that work? It's the least that we can do. Obviously, around the country, the first responders and frontline workers have been true heroes throughout this process, and that's the case here on the First Coast as well. So it's not an overly complicated process. Any first responder, frontline worker can come to the Hall of Fame, show us ID, and they will be our guests free of charge. Again, just a small way we can say thank you for all that they've done. And we're trying to extend, these great offers to all the residents of Northeast Florida, the 5 surrounding counties. It's just an opportunity. Everyone's had a challenging couple months, and we know people are anxious to get out and about. And for sports fans, this is a great opportunity to do something sports related in what's going to be a very safe and comfortable environment. And just to note, the IMAX Theater does remain closed, right?
Yes, the IMAX Theater will remain closed. We're following state guidelines, and right now theaters are continue to be closed. So the IMAX will be closed, but the Hall of Fame Museum will certainly be open beginning Monday, May 18th.
Brody Waters, thanks for joining us, man. Hopefully everybody get out there to the World Golf Hall of Fame and Museum, take a look right in our own backyard, give them something to do, talk about all the history of the great game of golf. Appreciate you jumping in.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, that's Brody Waters from the World Golf Hall of Fame. It's really one of the best-kept secrets around. If you like Hall of Fames, and they're right here. It'll be something. I bet people have said, why haven't we gone there? Or what? Mm-hmm. This would be a good time to say, we're getting out of the house today, we're going there. And obviously 50% off admission through August 31st for the folks from Northeast Florida. All you have to do is show ID for that. So that's pretty cool.
I like that, man. Yeah, for sure. I mean, listen, it's good to help out, businesses that are local and everything, obviously. And it's good that they're opening back up, and check it out.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We're going to talk more about the pandemic going on and how it's impacting sports. But I want to give it a break for now. Talk a little bit of NBA from era to era, and also a little UFC, because that card is coming up tonight. And a crazy question for you that I guarantee you've never been asked. Or I bet you have.
Who's this question from? Just give me a little hint here.
Everyone I watch UFC with.
Okay. Oh, I guarantee I've probably heard it then. Is it why don't they stand back up?
I'm not telling you the question.
If it's one of those questions like, hey, why doesn't he just stand back up? I'm gonna go crazy.
Why doesn't he just stand back up? It's not that.
I'm gonna go crazy. Okay, good.
I'm not gonna getting knocked down?
I'm not.
Do people ask that?
No, like if someone's grappling, and the guy's on top, why doesn't the guy on the bottom just stand back up?
Oh.
I don't know. Do you want me to show you? Do you want me to put my entire body weight on your hips and see what happens?
Why don't they just punch harder?
Good. Oh, Kuz.
I'm
this close.
I'm actually
this close
impressed.
To losing my marbles.
I'm impressed when guys can get up off the mat.
Right.
Because of that.
Right.
I mean, and some people are comfortable.
Oh yeah. Some people make themselves at home.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Through the chaos, man.
The more I learn and watch a little bit about it, so much has to do with you hear the analysts talk about breathing and staying calm.
Yep.
The minute that you kind of raise that blood pressure, you're in trouble.
Well, especially that's what jiu-jitsu and wrestling too teaches you. Like you have to be comfortable in uncomfortable spots. Yeah. All right. Like you're gonna be in instances like when I grapple somebody and practice somebody, like there's guys that weigh like 300 pounds that are laying on top of me. Now I'm a big dude, but still 300 pounds is 300 pounds. Doesn't matter if it's muscle or if it's fat. It weighs a lot. All right. So when someone's laying on you, like that's not comfortable. So you have to get used to like, all right, don't panic here. Just relax and try to find your way out of it. Because if you panic, then you're going to tap just from can't be able to breathe.
Absolutely. Well, that was your last fight too. I think they were saying you were fine in that situation until you got cut.
Yeah.
If you didn't get hit with the elbow to the eye and it cuts open, you would have been okay.
But and then the cut was more of a cosmetic thing because I felt fine. Like I knew I was cut because obviously when you get cut like that, there's like the warm. It's like stick your head underneath like a warm faucet.
Yeah.
Like, all right, well I'm probably bleeding.
But that raises the red flag.
I wasn't panicking. Well, yeah, it's for the optics and everything.
Yeah,
sure.
All right. So a little bit of that coming up and some NBA chatter. Era to era. Era to era.
Era.
I have a hard time saying that.
That's that message. Well, it's the Rhode Island era.
I say that just for a couple of guys that used to work with me. Hope they're listening. When we come back, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. We might go Drive and Dish podcast on you a little bit. Bring it, Kuz.
Let's get it.
It's coming up next on ESPN 690. This is Brett Martineau from Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Hope you catch the show Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. on 10 different platforms. But if you missed the show, you missed this. Dana White with us, president of the UFC.
You don't realize how much you miss live sports. I'd even watch golf right now.
Oh, Dana, don't say that, man. I have to talk about golf like twice a week on this show.
Subscribe to the podcast and check the show out on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Get the podcast daily. All you have to do is search ESPN 690 in your podcast app.
Sometimes it's a battle. Oh, those allergies here in the Southeast. Hey, everyone, this is Brent Martineau. I know all about the allergies, and it seems like we are always in allergy season around here. Right now, Bold City Heating and Air is offering air conditioning system sanitizing with pricing starting at $125. Sanitizing your air conditioning system will ease up allergens getting into your home through your air conditioning system. And as much time as we are all spending working from home lately, it's time to get your AC system sanitized. Contact Bold City Heating and Air today to get more information on their air conditioning sanitizing special. Just go visit boldcityac.com. If you need a new AC unit, Bold City has 0% financing options and rebates as well. Up to 0% financing for 12 months or 9.9% for up to 96 months. Do what my family did. See my friends at Bold City Heating and Air to make things more comfortable in your home. Just go visit boldcityac.com.
Take care of your family by having clean, purified water. With a Connecticut system from CGC Water, you can remove up to 99% of contaminants. The team at CGC is taking extra precautions with in-home visits, offering no-contact sales and service appointments, and CGC has extended their current promotion. Buy a Connecticut Premier Softener and save 50% on a K5 reverse osmosis drinking water system. Connecticut Premier Softeners are non-electric and have twin tanks, making them super efficient, and they use less salt. And remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. We'll test your tap water so you can better understand what's in your water so you can make more informed decisions about what you're drinking. It's free and there's no obligation to buy anything. Schedule your water test and get peace of mind from knowing more about your water. CGC has financing available with approved credit. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Serving Northeast Florida and Southeastern Georgia. CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Connecticut dealer.
Tire Outlet, the local name in tires that you know and trust, is now offering mobile installation. Tire Outlet mobile installation is safe, no hassle, quick, and same day at your home or office. A Tire Outlet professional will bring and install your tires right on site while staying safely distanced. The only thing easier than getting new tires with mobile installation is making the appointment. Call 904-600-0089 to reserve an appointment. Tire Outlet is part of the First Coast community and is in this with you.
Hello?
Hey, boss, how's it going?
Hanging like a hermit.
I hear you. Hey, how's your mom doing? I know you're worried because she lives alone and all.
She's good, thanks. Every night she's getting dinner delivered. And every night she answers the door with her SafeTouch security app.
No contact delivery.
Yeah, and SafeTouch cameras are encrypted with all kinds of safeguards.
Yeah, you don't see headlines about SafeTouch systems getting hacked.
Exactly. Can't believe I'm saying it, but I just feel better knowing she has SafeTouch. She's got her emergency buttons, her two-way communicator, the guaranteed response time.
Boss, sounds like you have a love-hate relationship with SafeTouch.
That's complicated. Because being crooks and all, we still gotta stick to the Crooks Are Us motto. Stay away from SafeTouch houses. Yeah, the struggle is real.
Crooks know to stay away from SafeTouch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of SafeTouch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call SafeTouch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Out of sight, out of mind still holds true. When things disappear from your day-to-day life, you think about them less and less. This includes your business. Yes, things are difficult, but if your customers aren't thinking about you now, how can you be sure they will be when this is past? At Cox Media Group Jacksonville, we make sure they will. We'll help you stay on the mind of your customers and even get into the mind of some new customers. Contact CMG Jacksonville at 245-8732 or email buildjax@cmg.com and let's build Jax.
This is a CMG Open for Business report. During these changing times, it's challenging for businesses across North Florida, big and small, but businesses are adjusting to meet your needs in a safe and comfortable way. Here's today's list of businesses that are open for you. Senior Helpers West Jax, Newton Custom Construction, Straight Welding Supply, Mobile PTO, Quality Roofing, Vitus Roofing. If you're open for business, let us know by emailing us at openjax@cmg.com. Together, we're getting through this.
It's time for some straight talk. Even though most live sports are on hold now, big wireless companies haven't stopped playing games. They're always trying to lock you into overpriced contracts. With Straight Talk Wireless, there are no contracts. It runs on America's best network, same as the big carriers, but you save up to 50%. $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G. You might miss sports, but don't play games, you'll lose. Straight Talk Wireless. No contracts, no compromise.
Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Every home has things it needs, things that need to be maintained, fixed, or replaced. The Home Depot is here to help you get it done. You can easily find what you need on our app, order it online with the push of a button, and have it brought to your door with free delivery on over 1 million items. We have the essentials you need, the online know-how you may need to do it yourself, and low prices that make it all possible. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anna Jar and Levine studios. Anna Jar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anna Jar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
I don't have the perfect answer, so I'm not going to bash any ideas that were thrown on the table. Obviously, it's not ideal for anybody, but the situation is ideal. And I think that whatever scenario that we choose is going to be winners and losers and risks and things that we have to decide that we're willing to give up. I think for the most part, we've been all on the same page saying pretty much everybody wants to play. If we can figure it out, and if we can't, then we cancel it and go from there. But I think the league is doing everything in its power to put something together that we can finish out the season.
Fred VanVleet I was supposed to guess that. I would have been guessing for days, weeks. Would have never got there.
Yep.
I would have never got there.
Yeah.
Van Vliet became very popular during that run last year for the Toronto Raptors, though, right?
Became pretty popular this year as well. I mean, the Raptors are doing good.
Was he doing well, though? I mean, was it partly because of him? I mean, he's playing. Yeah, he's a good ball player, but he doesn't get any love. But.
Well, I would say it was like, I mean, the three players for Toronto that they would probably highlight would be Siakam, obviously, Kyle Lowry, and then probably Van Vliet. And there's a few others. I don't want to slight anybody, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so Van Vliet's in the mix. Yeah. But, I mean, his coming out party was during the postseason last year. Like
it was, yeah.
I mean, obviously, Kawhi Leonard carried the team, but he had some huge moments.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he was on the bench last year, came off the bench.
Yeah, I think,
And then this year, I think he's like a full-blown starter. So actually, he went to Wichita. I thought he went to VCU, but it's Wichita State.
Okay.
I get confused. The Shockers. Yeah.
All right. We'll get into that in just a moment. I could not play basketball
by
right
the way.
now. Undrafted.
Fun fact.
Yeah, it's a little.
Well, it feels if you don't get drafted, man, like it's a tough slope to climb up. I feel.
Well, heck, if you get drafted in the second round, it's a tough slope
for sure
in the NBA. I wonder what the percentage is of undrafted guys on rosters.
We're talking Van Vliet. We're talking Ben Wallace. Got nobody else.
Was one on the Sixers.
Oh,
Robert Covington was. Well, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, undrafted. Yeah. Came up through.
You'd almost think there was a better chance because they only have 2 rounds, so you get undrafted guy. But did they just not miss as much in the NBA? I guess
that's going to be a list to look up. Top undrafted players of all time.
I also think you wonder how that's impacted from the European influence. You know,
well, and that's a lot of it too. You know, if you don't make it into the NBA, you have the G League, or maybe go to
Europe,
go to China,
or go to anywhere really.
Yeah. And so, I mean that's kind of the move. Although now a lot of the college stuff is changing. I mean, the one of the players that's one of the top prospects decides to go to the G League instead. So.
Yeah, that is interesting in itself. You guys brought up an interesting topic that we'll share in just a moment. But first, I got to get this out of the way. I need a doctor, I feel like.
Okay. Did you want to hear the top undrafted players quick or not? Yeah. Brad Miller. He's number 2. Ben Wallace, number 1. All right. Brad Miller, number 2. Avery Johnson, number 3. Darrell Armstrong. John Starks. I don't know. This isn't really in order, though.
That can't be in order. Brad Miller was number 2?
No, this isn't in order. Right?
I was going to say, Ben Wallace is in a league of his own then.
Don't trust this website, sportscasting.com. Put you guys on blast. But John Starks undrafted. We got David Wesley undrafted. Jose Calderon undrafted. Wesley Matthews out of Marquette undrafted. Bruce Bowen and Raja Bell. That's about it, man.
I got some decent players.
Udonis Haslem.
Oh.
Pretty legit. Jeremy Lin. Jeremy Lin. JJ Barrera. So there you go. All right. Just thought I'd throw those out there.
Barrera was he from like Northeastern?
Oh, Brent.
It's going to be a heck of a pull.
Where is JJ? Okay. Doesn't say
plays college basketball at Northeastern. Come on.
Is that your final answer?
Come on. Final answer.
Right. Final answer. JJ Barrera, Northeastern. Let's go to the Wikipedia page and.
Northeastern.
Yeah, baby. What a pull on a Wednesday.
Yeah, Northeastern. Good call. Where's that?
It's outside of Boston.
Okay, I got you.
It's in Northeastern.
How did you get that?
I don't know why. I remember J.J. Barrera from Northeastern. Like, who would remember? Did he go to the NCAA tournament or something? I have no idea.
Who knows any J.J. Barrera facts? That's like more obscure than T.J. McConnell.
He's like the backbone of the Dallas Mavericks.
Well, yeah, but I mean, unless you're Puerto Rican, do you really know who J.J. Barrera is? I don't know.
If you're from Northeastern, you do.
I guess you do, yeah.
Anyway, I need a doctor. I can't play basketball right now. I was just telling Austin this. We went to heat up food, which I never eat anymore during the show. It takes 3 minutes to heat up the food, and then by the time I come back, it's back into a regular segment, and then it's cold. So I'm losing weight here on the pandemic.
Do we get a microwave in here?
That wouldn't be bad, so we'd have to walk all the way down.
Hey, and by the way, if there's Domino's Pizza in here, can someone please let us know?
Oh, yeah, there's Domino's.
Thanks for the heads up.
Fantastic. It's right there.
Meanwhile, I'm like lugging all my food up the stairs today, and there's Domino's Pizza. Could have just had that.
And by the way, there was one full Hawaiian, pineapple and ham. Nobody was touching that. Quarantine that pizza.
I was
Quarantine that pizza.
Actually, not going to lie, I was eating one. I was like, this tastes way different. And I was talking to the OKVP. I was eating a vegan pizza.
From Domino's?
I guess. Oof. It was different.
Yeah.
That's a nice way to put it.
Very nice way to put it. Thanks for the Domino's, though.
But you're in need of a doctor.
Well, it hurt to walk down there. So I'm asking Austin.
So brave, by the way.
I'm asking Austin, I'm like, what part of your foot is this?
Yeah.
Because basically I have this. Here's the story, okay? With an MMA fighter here on the show, I may have gotten hurt on the golf course. I'm really trying to wonder if I got hurt on the golf course.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I have broken a bone in my hand on the golf course before. Small bone on the top, hitting out of the rough. It's actually.
No, be honest. You got ticked off and slammed your club in the ground.
No, I didn't.
The vibration.
No, I've done that. I've broken like 3 clubs during the pandemic.
Got something with her shoulder because of that. Same thing where you have to hit into the ground to do it. She's got something with her shoulder.
This was actually at TPC on the 16th hole. There's like this grass bunker near the water, and I don't even know if it is there anymore. I don't think it is, but it's the thick stuff. And so I was like, man, that hurt. Like it kind of jammed in the ground, and I looked it up online, and they said most common. So there's a small bone, like in the top where you're near your wrist and your hand, top of your hand.
Yeah.
And they said most commonly broken by amateur golfers. It actually says whatever that name of that bone is. Says I'll never forget it.
The fact that it said amateur golfers.
What an ego!
Let you know about it,
I
man.
know. I was like, I did, and it hurt for a little bit, but it's nothing you do about it. You just it heals up, I guess. Well, this one, I'm playing golf the other day, and like the 13th hole, all of a sudden my lower part of my shin, top of my foot or ankle area starts hurting. Like when I'm walking and stuff, because I was walking playing golf, and I'm like, whatever. I don't know what it is. Maybe I shin splints or something. We've been walking so much, Steph and I, and so I'm like 8 miles a day, and plus on the golf, I was like, maybe I get shin splints. That's weird, but it didn't hurt too bad. Well, it starts hurting more and more and more. And it freaking hurts, like really hurts. Like last night, marshmallow baseball, I could not take a swing. So I had to actually pivot my back foot so I could swing.
You'd be the first person to go on IR from golfing.
I almost went on the Marshmallow Baseball League DL.
For the first time ever.
I almost went on the DL. I was like, I don't know if I can play. And it is killing me. I tried to look it up, and I can't find it. I ran cross country when I was back in high school. It was the worst thing I ever did in my life. But I never got shin splints.
I can't believe you did that,
I was awful. It's the only thing I ever quit, too.
Can I ask you why you did that, though?
Because I didn't. The story behind why I ran cross country is I was in the bleachers at a meeting to play volleyball.
Men's volleyball?
I wanted to do something in the fall. And so in the fall, we had boys volleyball.
Or boys volleyball,
Yeah, I wasn't a man then.
Well, yeah, you're playing volleyball, so yeah.
Well, we actually had a pretty good volleyball team, but I know nothing about the sport.
How do you go to school in Rhode Island and you have a men's volleyball team?
We had a volleyball.
Yeah.
In Philly, we had one. Yeah.
Oh, Wisconsin, you're slacking. My bad.
By the way, I will tell you this little note. Rocco Baldelli, who obviously ended up playing in the Bigs, who's manager of the Twins now.
Sure.
Unbelievable volleyball player. Could have gone to UCLA, Penn State, all the big ones to play volleyball. Could jump out of the gym.
Okay, anyway,
so little known fact. But that wasn't at my high school.
Yeah.
But we were a decent volleyball team, I guess. I later found out. But anyway, I'm sitting there and I know nothing about volleyball. And now, meanwhile, you know how Ty's small? Well, Dad was small in 10th grade.
Yeah.
We didn't have freshmen. We just went 10, 11, 12 in high school.
Okay.
So it was my sophomore year. And I'm probably 5'2".
Yeah, you could have been a setter or a libero.
Again,
or whatever. I don't know. Libero.
They didn't have that at they didn't have that. At that time.
Yeah.
I don't think they did.
Okay.
Libero, by the way.
What do you? I mean, yeah.
So I'm sitting there, and they're doing the introductions, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what am I doing here? I'm like 5'1". Everybody else is like 5'11", 6'1". They're all tall. Volleyball's a tall sport.
Yeah.
So I kind of get off the bleachers after. I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm going to do this. Well, that moment, the cross country coach is like, hey, we're down. We don't have many cross country. You want to run cross country?
Yeah.
Like,
that should have been your first sign. They were recruiting.
Yeah, they're desperate, obviously.
They were desperate.
Yeah.
And so desperate.
So, and be honest, you kind of felt important. You're like, all right, I feel like Zion Williamson. Like,
I'm really just trying to stay in shape for baseball and all this stuff.
Sure.
So, what the heck?
Why not? Let's go.
Oh, it was the worst thing I ever did. It was the worst. And by the way, I ended up going to volleyball games. And the volleyball stuff was exciting, man. I mean, the place was packed. It was loud.
Electric.
And I ended up marrying Steph, who played volleyball. We played intramurals together. I should have played volleyball.
You should have played volleyball, man.
And
no one's coming to watch cross country. Let's be honest.
You didn't have to be tall.
Yeah, of course. No one's coming to watch you run cross country.
So the story on the cross country, if I haven't told you this before, is I was a sophomore. They needed more varsity runners, so I run varsity, but I'm not good. Like, I'm not any good. I'm just doing this just to do it. You go on these damn 7-mile runs around East Providence, Rhode Island, and I'm like hating every minute of it.
Yep.
But I participate in the state meet and finished dead last because they needed enough runners to qualify.
Well,
so I had to come.
I mean, did you at least get like your varsity letter for your jacket?
I guess I didn't have one of those, but
you didn't have a letter jacket?
No.
Oh, dude, be honest, because you didn't really get a lot of medals, right? So is that what it was?
Well, I would have lettered. Let's see.
Is that what it was?
3 years, I would have lettered in.
You didn't
2,
get a
4,
lot,
6,
though,
7. I would have had 7 of them.
Dude, you want to talk about me, man? They used to thank me for my service. My jacket, I was like General Patton, bro. Because remember, I had the band medals too. So like every band competition, you got a medal. So I had track medals, band medals, football medals, basketball medals. Dude, General Patton, thank you for your service, Austin Lane. I was crushing it. My jacket, man, weighed 50 pounds. Now, did I wear it a lot? No, because it didn't fit me. But it's not the point. You know what I'm saying? It's not the point.
I actually got pulled away from track and field I got recruited to play ultimate frisbee for our school.
They had ultimate frisbee at your school?
I broke my collarbone and couldn't do the pole vault stuff, so I was just chilling. And the guy's like, hey, man, when you heal up, you should come play ultimate frisbee with us to get back in shape. And I started doing it, and I liked that more than pole vault, so I just started playing on our ultimate frisbee team.
What is it called? A Letterman jacket?
Letterman jacket? Yeah.
Letterman jacket.
Yeah.
I'm asking right now if people had this. This show has taken a turn for the worse, but in high school. But anyway, so I finished last in the state of Rhode Island in cross country and quit after that. That was the last time I ever ran cross country until I went to college, and I thought I was running cross country because we ran so much for college baseball. But for some stupid reason, I wasn't a pitcher. But we ran like all the time and a lot. And I felt like I was on the cross-country team. But I should have played volleyball. That was the moral of the story.
Well, you're going to find out what kind of athletes you have following you here on Twitter. Because, the athletes are going to have Letterman's jackets. Dude, how'd you have a Letterman's jacket?
Yeah, I didn't.
Because, that was the thing, at least like in Wisconsin. Where,
I understand. It's a thing in high school.
And of course, if you're dating somebody, then they wear that Letterman's jacket. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and,
but that was
there was always controversy. Guys from other towns, girls were rocking their jackets, and then it caused a big, dilemma. And, man, it's a real deal.
Kuz, when you went to high school, was the Letterman jacket a thing?
Our football team did have a jacket, yes.
See, I feel like the Letterman jacket, was there a stage where it was like, all right, that's not really cool anymore? That's like...
I'm not saying it was cool, okay? Because I didn't really rock it a lot because, once again, it didn't really fit me.
Our football team, every game day, they would wear it during school,
See,
a Friday.
We had our own, football jackets as well. So we had a Letterman jacket and we had a football jacket.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of then.
Yeah.
But they had, a jacket they would wear.
Well, the football players, I think, wore their jerseys to school. They didn't wear their jackets,
that's what we did as well.
Jerseys, if I remember correctly.
Is that tradition still going on? It has to, right?
I would imagine.
For sure.
Yeah, it probably should. You bring up a good point, though. How does East Providence, Rhode Island, have a boys volleyball team? Yet, down St. Johns County, there is not boys volleyball.
Yeah.
We're the state of Florida, man.
Yeah.
And they should. They should have
crazy.
volleyball.
Did you guys have wrestling?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Big on the East Coast.
Wrestling as well. So,
anyways, getting back to your foot real quick.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about your calf and your injuries.
Oh, yeah. So I think I hurt myself on the golf course, which makes me feel very manly.
Here's the thing we got to check out right here, Brent, right? Because I'm a residential foot expert.
That's the back of my foot.
Yeah, so we have to check out if you have supination when you walk.
That means I walk.
That's what I think it is.
On the side of my foot.
Yeah, and it could add pressure to the outside of your foot.
All right.
So check it out.
I feel like I can't move it like I broke my ankle. But there's no way I broke my ankle on the golf course.
I hope not, man.
I'm not going to admit
come on,
that.
This is a sports show.
I'm not even going to the doctors if that happens.
Well, this is a sports show. The last thing I want you to come in here with crutches and a scooter.
Jobs were at jeopardy after his Golic and Wingo pick.
How legitimate are we going to be if Brett Martineau broke his foot in golfing?
I know. That's the great irony here. It's like you come in a day after your fight after getting punched in the face and stitches.
We're all good.
In a cage. And meanwhile, I can't walk in here because I hurt myself playing golf.
How are you going to interview at training camp on a scooter, having to pedal up to a football player? They ask you what's going on. Oh, don't worry about it. I heard of golfing. So anyways, it's pretty hot here today. How'd practice go? Come on, man.
Yeah, I'm a little afraid of that.
Think about the brand. We got jobs at stake here, Brent. We got to go, man.
I know it. But you said that CBD oil worked for you coming off the fight. Maybe it will work for my foot.
You never know, man. Just a nice little hot tub of CBD oil coming at you.
All right, hey, let's get to an NBA topic real quick. I could claim that I hurt my ankle playing for the Giants or something.
Yeah.
Coolidge, you brought up a topic, or one of you guys brought up a topic. 90s styles. Thinking of the Michael Jordan stuff. Would all their style of play, whether it's Rodman or Jordan or name your player, would it translate to today's game? Are they transcendent amongst any era of NBA basketball? I mean, players are, right? LeBron could play in any generation, in my opinion, be great.
Yep.
I believe that. We know Jordan could have been too and would be, and he'd be great. But in terms of stylistic play, would it be as good? You know, keep in mind now, Jordan's not a very fair commentary here because he changed the game and he created a whole generation. It's like asking that same Tiger Woods question now.
Yeah.
And Tiger's created a generation in golf, so he's changed the game. So, yeah, Michael would fit in, but there'd be a lot more Michaels nowadays. So he'd certainly fit. His style would fit.
Well, and I'd say look, from the Last Dance, right? When you see those end scores, right, it's like 86 to 77. The pace of play has picked up so much. Like, I actually do want to go back and look at those seasons and see if there was a pace of play stat that can show how fast they were moving. Because, I mean, the games today, if they're not getting in the 100 range for scoring, it's kind of surprising, So that's a lot faster game. But I would say I would also think players would adapt to that. Like back then, if that's the style of play that was happening, then you adjust your game accordingly. And I think if you get yourself to the NBA like that, then you can adjust your game, or you force your game on other people's throats like the Grizzlies used to do with the grit and grind. Slow it down, play our style. You're going to play our style even if you're playing fast. So I think players would have been able to handle it. I always find it funny when they talk about that because, back then you had like Shaq. You had these dominant big men when now it's more everybody's about the same size on the court, it seems like, and everyone's just athletic, and you kind of go small ball. But I think if you have a dominant big man, an Andre Drummond or someone like that, and you build your team around it, then it can be effective.
So I think, talk about guys like Akeem Olajuwon. Like, Akeem Olajuwon could play in any decade, right? Where
you would think so, yeah.
Yeah, and so you got him. I think Karl Malone's another great example, but you have to remember, the game has changed now from the physicality standpoint.
That's the biggest thing, right?
That's the biggest thing, right? So, how good would Patrick Ewing be? I think obviously Shaq would be dominant in any era because Shaq's Shaq.
Yeah,
okay,
just a monster of him.
His size, it doesn't matter if it's a three-point shooting league or a physical team. No one's going to stop Shaq, all right? Shaq's always going to get his points. But then you have, players I don't know, I'm trying to think, Scottie Pippen, for example. All right, Scottie Pippen. How would his game translate? Because Scottie Pippen was always he was the guy on fast breaks. He played pretty solid defense, but it's a scorer's league now, though, right? And MJ was always a scorer. Now, Scottie scored too as well, but I wonder if Scottie's game would really translate. And I don't want to do it to your boy here, but this is more of an 80s thing than a 90s thing. But one could wonder how good Larry Bird would be right now.
This is racist,
saying.
by the way.
It has nothing to do with it. John Stockton would be killing it right now in the NBA. All right? I'm not bringing race into it. TJ McConnell's killing it. So I'm not saying anything to do with a white player or a black player. All I'm talking about is those Larry Bird hips, okay? Those Larry Bird need some WD-40 hips. Because Larry Bird, he was a spot-up shooter, man. I didn't see him create a shot a lot. Now, I wasn't born when he was playing, but I got that highlight video that you sent me, and I'll be honest, wasn't impressed, all right? Didn't do anything for me. So I think maybe Larry Bird would have some problems transitioning to the modern NBA athlete.
I try to compare players a lot, like what they would be like. And with the Scottie Pippen thing, I think he would, because you look at the Golden State Warriors when they were doing the run, the Iguodala, who was the do-it-all guy. He locked down defensively LeBron when he had to, but also would put up decent scoring numbers. He wasn't the go-to scorer on the team, obviously. That was for Pippen, it was Michael Jordan. For Iggy, you had Clay and Steph, and I believe Kevin Durant for one of the years as well. So it's I think it would have worked. It just probably wouldn't have been if Pippen was putting up 33 points and having a defensive game or something like that. It would have been more Iggy style, where it's 16 points and 8 rebounds and really good defensive play on the best player or something like that.
By the way, Larry Bird was not just a spot-up shooter. pass the ball, rebound, triple-doubles. Larry Bird now would get triple-doubles every night because that's all guys try to do.
You would put Anthony Davis on Larry Bird, and Larry Bird would say that his foot's hurting like yours is right now. Like what are you doing?
Larry Bird would spin Anthony Davis in circles.
Brent, you can't honestly say that.
Yes.
You can't. Dude,
Go back and watch tape.
I have seen tape. He runs like Forrest Gump at the beginning of the movie when Forrest Gump got those braces on. He's like, it hurts. Like that's Larry Bird in a nutshell. Yeah, he's got a good 3-point shot. And once again, I'm not being racist. Okay, if a black dude was like Reggie Miller, what would Reggie Miller's game translate, do you think, right now?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. But I think, once again, maybe a little racial here, but I think Reggie Miller was maybe a little more athletic, had a little better hip fluidity than Larry Bird did.
No, he was Steph Curry before Steph Curry.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if he's got a good shot and can shoot a 3, then you're in the league.
That's the thing. It's like you almost could make the case that Larry Bird would thrive more now with the way the game is spread out. It is spread out.
Until Kawhi Leonard says what's up. Until Larry Bird might be a good role player.
Look up
on my team.
Like look up a guy like Joe Ingles.
I hate you more than Michael Jordan hates Isaiah Thomas.
Look at a guy named Joe Ingles. That's who Kuz is comparing to. Larry Bird's Joe Ingles the modern day Larry Bird.
20+ points a night off threes.
How many jerseys is Joe Ingles selling right now?
In Australia, probably a lot. He's huge in Australia.
I'll be honest. Who does Joe Ingles even play for right now? The Jazz? Okay, I figured that. But he's not a household name. Let's be honest, Kuz.
No, but for Jazz players, they know who he is. He's like the second scorer on that team behind Donovan Mitchell. Rudy Gobert's their big guy. Joe Ingles, their 3-point shooter.
Baby Joe Ingles, the next generation, baby.
I'm not comparing him to that. I'm just saying a guy who you don't perceive as athletic. People joke about how he looks like a teacher, and he's out here balling out, dropping threes.
Do you believe a guy from small town Wisconsin has this kind of hate and vitriol for Larry Bird? I mean, do you know what they're still playing at Wisconsin in terms of basketball? They march 5 white guys out on the court every single game.
Run that swing offense, man. No, hey, you better check your eyes a little bit and see those new school Wisconsin players. They had like 2 black guys last year starting for the team. Unheard of. You should have saw it. There's like they actually had the stands like stand up in like a moment of silence because history is being made. They had 2 black guys playing at Wisconsin. It was insane. So you don't know what's going on. You don't watch the news, Brett. Step your game up.
Here's the one I do. Here's 2 players I'll give you in terms of translation.
Yeah.
Charles Barkley, would he win an MVP today?
I don't think he wins an MVP. I think he's too aggressive, man. I think his style, the long mound of rebound, I don't think it translates well to the NBA now.
And Rodman, is he as dominant today? One, I give you athleticism, because he had kind of some bounce and underrated athleticism as much as he's crazy and everything. He didn't get credit for a lot of his skill set. Well, a lot of guys have that bounce. I mean, it's like human pogo sticks playing basketball in terms of everybody can rebound, and now everybody's crashing the boards and everybody will get theirs. So I don't know if I guess the way to put it is, were the rebounds more readily there?
See, but
back in the 90s, I
compare it to Ben Wallace, though. Like Ben Wallace was a big reason why the Pistons won a championship in the early 2000s, right? And like Ben Wallace didn't score a lot. He was that guy. He had one of the worst free throw percentages of all time, but like it worked for the Pistons. So we're talking about Dennis Rodman, who I think is even more of an upgrade than Ben Wallace is, because Ben Wallace was never a tall center, right? But he was physical, and he played within himself. I think Dennis Rodman can kind of be considered that same, realm of guy. But the question is does his mindset, does his intensity, does his tenacity translate to the modern era and NBA now? Because, once again, there's a lot of ticky-tack falls out there.
Well, not only that, but where does he live on a roster? Is there a guy like Rodman who scores 3 points but will grab 14 rebounds and you're making room for him on a roster? Or do you need too much scoring on your roster, on your team, where everybody's getting 15, 16 points a game? I
think of Haslam from the Heat, but I mean, he has he has like 20-point games as well, but Haslam makes his money getting rebounds and playing physical.
The point, I would look at like Steven Adams of the Thunder, or even maybe a Draymond Green. I know he scores a little bit more, but Draymond Green also perceived as a
Green's
very
the best comparison.
Aggressive
feels
player.
Like.
Yeah, and I mean,
but he's more he is an offensive threat.
He is an offensive threat.
Yep, for sure.
He is, but I would say Draymond Green is probably the closest comparison, because he had he can be really aggressive to the point that he gets himself in foul trouble sometimes, like in the finals when he
absolutely,
kicked, and so I would say yes, he could.
I just wonder. I mean, I do wonder in today's game. It's like everybody's going to be able to score. It's like baseball today, right? I mean, in the '90s, but this isn't very long ago. In the '90s, you could have middle infielders hitting 225 because they can field.
Yeah.
They were plus defenders. Nobody cares about that anymore.
Yeah.
They'll give up an error or two to get a guy that can hit 290 instead and has some pop. That's what I wonder in the NBA. I mean, will they take a guy on the roster, play as many minutes, see it as a valued commodity to do what Rodman did, which is strictly just rebound and be physical and not be an offensive threat at all, almost at times be an offensive liability.
Yeah. It's a great point. I'm just going back to Larry Bird thinking how he's on defense. Like, would he ever be a first-team defense guy? Probably not. So he's a liability there. So I still enjoy the Ingles comparison. I think that's the one we're going to go with here, Brent. You can argue it all you want, but last time I checked, how many first-team defenses did Larry Bird win?
Probably not many.
Wait. Hey. Wait. Not many?
You remember when Bird stole the ball?
I wasn't born yet, so probably not.
Can we play that Pistons cut? Can we find that, please?
And listen,
we get a little Johnny Most here.
Listen, and I'm not trying to be a hater. I respect it.
You are. No, you are.
How am I? I mean,
Larry on line 1.
Brent, I'm just calling like I see it, man. Like, I understand he's your hero, all right, and that's your idol. But you have to get off the sunshine and rainbows bus every once in a while and come back down to reality and understand that maybe his game doesn't really translate to the modern era NBA. Maybe his defense could be a liability a little bit. Just saying.
I don't think so.
Okay.
The one thing that changed big time from the 90s to now is their loosening up of the illegal defense.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You were talking about the point scoring. And that thing, when did that shift? I thought it was like in the early 2000s. It went all the way where they basically, you can play a little bit of zone defense now, and they're not going to call it. But back then you couldn't. And that's why people would man up in the man-to-man defense. I mean, if you did do that, you could lock people up and you could have more physical play. In man-to-man defense, you're going to have more physical play.
Correct.
So I think this period of time where they wanted more scoring, that's why they loosened that up. They're like, hey, these games, this is like college basketball games sometimes.
Yeah.
And that is what jumps out at you. Somebody like when Ty's watching or if a younger person's watching, it's like the end of that game, it was 82-76. What?
Yeah.
That was the end of the game?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, they changed some of the rules defensively to allow that to happen. They wanted more scoring. They valued that from a viewership standpoint, which I think is the right call, and then also led, on the way to the three-point shot and the game changing and the spreading out, the geometry, if you will, of the basketball court being different than it was in the 90s.
How do you think James Harden and players like that do back in like the 90s?
Yeah, that's a great call, right? Because you would man him up.
Yeah,
and somebody would man him up.
Easy calls, man. You're not going to the free throw line 30 times a game.
Well, you have to remember there's two things that also I think would change. They traveled in the NBA then. I remember people talking about, man, they get away with steps, but not like they do now. They were a little bit more harsh on that, as I remember. And the other thing is carrying. Like, you had to dribble the basketball. Well, I think Iverson changed that a bit, right? And I don't know if it was just Iverson, but so many players were then carrying the basketball, which they do now.
It's a thing, yeah.
That they changed the rule. They softened the rule. Like, you're allowed to do it. I mean, it's going to be egregious for it to be called a carry.
Yeah.
Well, the way I remember it, even especially in the 80s, but in the early 90s, that wasn't the case. I mean, they were actually you would get called for that. So you didn't have those little offensive advantages where I think the rules now cater to the offense. Used to be just good old-fashioned hard playing basketball, whether it's hard fouls, hard defense, and obviously that man-to-man defense. I'm not telling you it's better and guys are tougher then. I just think the styles were different, and it's purposeful. It's more entertaining now because there are points being scored.
And let's be honest, it's probably, as far as the career longevity is concerned, obviously you have more longevity now in the NBA than you did probably in the early 90s.
Yeah, and you could make the case, guys like Rodman and really those Detroit Pistons teams, help change the physicality of the game because the NBA didn't want that.
Yeah.
They didn't want that black eye on the sport of being so physical that you were going to have brawls every game.
And then to prove your point, Brent, for your Lord and Savior Larry Bird here, 3 all-defensive second teams.
See that?
For Larry Bird. There's like 3 teams back then, but it is what it is. It's all good.
3 teams in the early 90s.
It's all good, though.
I would
it's
say,
like 3
so
teams.
for the pace of play thing, in the 90s, it looks like it was a pace of play of around, almost 90. Right now, it's at, 105.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, I think the main thing there is they allowed a softening of the defense. It's not a true zone. They don't allow the true zone defense, but that changed. They used to call. I remember illegal defenses being called all the time watching the games.
Yeah.
I mean, when's the last time you saw an illegal defense call?
Well, I mean, when's the last time you saw a carry getting called? Can you imagine being the rep that calls a carry, honestly? You get chastised. You'd be thrown out of the league for doing that.
Imagine calling a travel. All right. Hey, we'll talk some football when we come back. Action Sports Jackson on ESPN 690. Larry Bird's the greatest.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Partly sunny and mild today. We reach about 80 degrees, dropping to near 60 tonight. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 at Fox 30. Action News Jacks from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
Weather is brought to you by Beards Diamonds. Did you have to postpone popping the question because of the COVID crisis? Get 5 years, 0 interest now at Beards Diamonds.
If you have a specific medical problem, you call a specialist. Broken leg? Call an orthopedist. Cataracts? Call an ophthalmologist. At Prime Men's Medical Center, our doctors specialize in ED and PE. Listen to Dr. Rubinski, a renowned expert in men's health.
I'm Dr. Rubinski. If you're experiencing ED or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center has custom blended medications to help you last longer in the bedroom, regardless of age or past medical history, with no pain or surgery. In fact, you'll see results in the office guaranteed or your exam is free. Patients are now lasting for 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer. And best of all, treatments are affordable.
Men, if Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, call Prime Men's Medical Center for a private consultation with our highly skilled physicians. Call 904-206-8105. 904-206-8105. 904-206-8105.
These days, the whole world is on the internet 24/7, on their phones, at work, even at the dinner table. It's the internet all the time. So why, when it's time to sell your home, does your traditional agent charge you 6% to list it on the MLS to other agents instead of targeting buyers directly online? That's why Rex was born. For a fee starting at 2%, Rex sells your home where buyers are looking, online, optimized by data-driven marketing, not the MLS. To get started, visit sellwithrex.com. That's sellwithrex.com. With Rex, selling or buying a home has never been easier. Price your home, get a virtual consultation, visit online open houses and showings, all from the comfort of your home with a few clicks of a button. Want to learn more? Visit sellwithrex.com or just use your phone and call 833-REX-HOME. 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-739-4663. License number CQ1057788. Minimum fee may apply. Rex fully supports the principles of the Fair Housing Act and Equal Opportunity Act.
Where is this water coming from?
Who will deliver us lunch?
Why is the air conditioner blowing hot air?
Where can I get a tire fixed?
Do you know someone who can get marker stains out of the carpet?
What do we need to do to get the pool ready?
These and hundreds of other questions are still being asked daily. Will the answer be your business or your competitors? Don't leave it to chance. Let Cox Media Group Jacksonville make you the answer to their questions. Contact us at 245-8732 or email buildjax@cmg.com and let's build Jax.
Do you hear something in the attic?
Where do you want to eat tonight?
Why won't the lights work? Where should I take my car for engine work?
Do you think I need to get this spot checked out?
Where did these bugs come from?
When are we going to paint the house?
These and hundreds of other questions are still being asked daily. Will the answer be your business or your competitors? Don't leave it to chance. Let Cox Media Group Jacksonville make you the answer to their questions. Contact us at 245-8732 or email buildjax@cmg.com and let's build Jax.
This is a CMG Open for Business report. During these changing times, it's challenging for businesses across North Florida, big and small. But businesses are adjusting to meet your needs in a safe and comfortable way. Here's today's list of businesses that are open for you.
Rockaway Landscape, Safety First CPR and Safety Training. Dalton Direct Carpet, law offices for Marcella Taylor, the landings at South Point and Parkview.
If you're open for business, let us know by emailing us at openjax@cmg.com. Together, we're getting through this.
Redbox has top entertainment when you need it most. Get ready for some high-speed family excitement. Sonic the Hedgehog is here. Visit redbox.com for all the ways to watch. Prices may vary by location, subject to applicable taxes. Additional terms at redbox.com.
Call Zero Res. They are offering to clean and protect every surface in your home for 25% off. Also, nominate a family in need, and Zero Res will clean the carpets in one home each day for absolutely free. Zero Res spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Hello?
Hey, boss.
Why are you calling me?
Well, I was gonna come over, but I thought I should be practicing social distancing.
Oh, that's responsible of you.
Thanks. So I'm calling because I want to read you this new article in the Crooks of Us newsletter.
If it's about Safe Touch security, I don't want to hear it.
Boss, you'll want to hear this. The headline reads, Safer at Home with Safe Touch Security.
Safer at home with Safe Touch?
Yeah, it says, with people staying home more than ever these days, Safe Touch Security is the answer for peace of mind at home.
Yeah, the guaranteed response time, the two-way communicator, the video monitoring.
Yeah, and more.
Great. So what you're telling me is, whether they're home or not, the Crooks of Us motto is stronger than ever. Stay away from Safe Touch houses.
It's written in stone, boss.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
This message is brought to you by Community First Credit Union.
Stop for a minute. Relax. Take a breath. Jacksonville is going to be just fine. Things are changing, and change can be difficult sometimes. Change in how we live our lives, how we run our businesses, our jobs, our kids, our schools, our neighborhoods. But this is Jacksonville, and you won't find a more dedicated, compassionate, and caring community anywhere. From Nassau to St. John's, from West Side to the beaches, God knows we can weather a storm. And we can get through this as well. All of us at Community First realize that no one has all the answers to what we're facing. But after more than 80 years in Jacksonville, we do know this. Things get better when people stick together. So that's what we'll do. And we'll get through this to a better, brighter future in Jacksonville.
During this time of uncertainty facing our community, the American Heart Association is working to help reduce the impact of COVID-19. Serious symptoms like those associated with a heart attack or stroke are still considered urgent, and emergency workers know what to do. Heart attacks, strokes, and cardiac arrests don't stop during the coronavirus pandemic. Call 911 at the first sign to save lives. Visit heart.org for more information.
Been feeling a little cooped up lately? Well, you should buy a boat. Want to get away from people for a while? You should buy a boat. Been dying to get back on the water? You should buy a boat. Want to finance up to 100% of a new boat and get 60 days of no payments? Then you should buy a boat. With the help of One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. For a limited time, you can also get a free entry into the Greater Jacksonville Kingfish Tournament with your boat loan. Apply online at 121fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA. Isn't it time you bought a boat?
Take a look out your window right now. Things appear basically the same, but you know they're not. Same with your business. There have been changes, some might even be permanent. Only time will tell. But in the meantime, how will you respond? Stay the course, or will you explore the new opportunities in front of you? At Cox Media Group Jacksonville, we know that those who explore often discover wonderful new things. If you're willing, we're able to help. Contact us at 245-8732 or email buildjax@cmg.com. And let's build Jax.
Say hello to your new secret advertising weapon, your own branded mobile phone number. StarStar Mobile provisions vanity mobile numbers prefixed by StarStar, providing audiences an easy way to reach your business. Give it a try now by dialing StarStar Mobile from your mobile phone. That's StarStar Mobile.
Today and every day, the Child Cancer Fund salutes the medical professionals on the front lines of pediatric cancer care. If you're in a position that allows you to give, your gift makes a difference. Please visit childcancerfund.org. That's childcancerfund.org to give today.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Hope you catch the show Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. But if you can't catch it, or if you want to go back and listen again, check out the Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 podcast. Just search ESPN 690 in your podcast app.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
very unrealistic. And then who gets to go in the bubble? They got to eat, right? So if you even have everybody in the same hotel, you're going to make all the people that work at the hotel stay there too? Maybe they have to. Security, people that clean the rooms, people that bring food in, food out, whatever supplies are needed. I mean, it's got to be a tight ship, and then somebody gets sick in that ship. It's almost like actually being on a cruise ship, right? I don't know if there's any right answer.
Well, there better be a right answer. Can't operate under that, Marcus Spears. Let's just say this. You might not know if there's a right answer, but there better be some kind of decision at some point. I mean, somebody's got to be bold enough to make a decision. We'll talk more about that coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Also had a question from yesterday. Did a little work on, and at least small discussion of Scott Boras. Is he good or bad for baseball? You brought up a really good point. Maybe it's the teams that we should ask that question about, like the Yankees, Red Sox, Dodgers, teams like that. That set the precedent. And it was interesting researching Boras a little bit. On the outside, very casually, just kind of seeing reports and everything else about Boras, I'm like, I don't like that guy.
Yeah.
You read a little bit more into it, and you're like, maybe he's got more grip on this thing than you give him credit for. So talk about that a little bit. You'd like him to be your agent, let's just say that.
Of course, man. I mean, like that's like the who's who of baseball guys, so absolutely.
Well, and that's why, right? I mean, he's going to get you paid.
Absolutely.
And what you think you're worth.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens after this tax year. I might give him a call and see what I can do for ESPN 690.
Very good.
No, I'm kidding.
All right, we have a senior shout-out to get in here today.
Let's get it.
Congratulations to all the seniors. I know some folks are taking like AP tests and tests from home, and it's kind of like their final days of their high school careers. And obviously sports never came back. So a shout out to all the seniors out there. But we continue to ask you to submit your favorite senior to ESPN690.com, and we can share a shout out. And that happens tonight to Kai Clark Darabi from Providence High School. Diane Darabi is his mom, and Kai was an outstanding student at Providence, offensive MVP, and is headed to the University of Florida in the fall. His father, Farzan, his sister, Lila, and I are so proud of the young man he has become. Truly a gift from God. So congratulations to Kai Clark Darabi from the Providence School, and congratulations to all the seniors once again. Seniors shout out here on ESPN 690 daily from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m., usually in the 4 o'clock hour. And you can submit your favorite senior to ESPN690.com. So make sure you go ahead and do that. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Coos here on a Wednesday edition of Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. It feels like Thursday to me for some reason. This week must be going pretty slow, even though it's a beautiful week. I did get this email today on the TV side. Apparently, video game sales are surging. And the other thing that came through was bike sales. Like if you go to Walmart and Academy and Dick's and all those kind of places, you're not going to find many bikes. And I'm sure the bicycle places as well that are open. Bicycle sales are really good. Makes a lot of sense.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, people are getting out there, staying healthy. I wonder, that's what I've been wondering. I wonder how, gyms are going to be able to, handle stuff again.
Yeah.
Right? Like, is there going to be, a surge like it's New Year's? Because if that's the case, then the YMCA can just chill and marinate for a month as far as I'm concerned. I'm not going to go to the YMCA with 100 people getting back into it, okay?
You're not going to be allowed to.
I know, true. So I wonder, if there's going to be, this surge, or if it's going to be well, you know what? We've been pretty good without the gym, so let's just keep on going for runs outside or going for bike rides. I'm curious to see how it goes down.
I can almost guarantee you if there weren't restrictions, it would be like New Year's.
There's going to be the surge, yeah.
Yeah, I think the surge. And, we had Martin Rooney on who was training for Warriors. And I go to a place in Ponte Vedra with Coach Phil out there. And they just kind of opened up a soft kind of opening in the last couple of weeks. But you're going to have less than 10 people in there at a time, so smaller groups. And those are the smaller gyms that you're kind of talking about. Those aren't the big gyms. So, but I think, again, I say it. If you go work out in a gym, at least for me, and I think most people are like this, not that most people are like me, and that's probably a good thing, but I think in this category they are, you can try it at home, you can do things at home, no doubt. You can get the exercise at home, but it seems like it's amplified and you do it 5 times harder when you're in a gym.
Of course.
And you're around other people doing it. That's at least me, and I'm guilty of it.
So what's going to happen then? So, for instance, I lift weights and I do a lot of my weight training at the YMCA. What's going to happen with that then? It's going to be like a certain number of people?
I think so.
So it's like the Hunger Games where I have to hope my name gets called? Like I'm going to volunteer for tribute?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, here's the thing. Do you take the stronger people or do you take like the weaker people? Because obviously the weaker people, they have something incentive where it's like, well, I want to get better, I want to get back in shape, and that's great. That's what the YMCA is all about. Or do you take the stronger people where it's like, well, you know what, I'm always in here, so I have a right to be here because I have to maintain what I have.
Depends if you believe in Darwinism. Survival of the fittest.
Good point. Oh, I can't wait, man. Set them up. Let's go. I just have like an American Gladiators course to see like who can come through and go to the YMCA. I like that. Let's go.
I don't know. But, the gyms are in a tough spot, I think, because you got to really make sure you clean things off right after, and you got to make sure you do it, though. I mean, you can say you're doing it.
For sure.
You got to make sure you're doing it in that regard, or it can spread quick. Hey, I want to talk a little football.
Let's get it.
And we talk a little more about the pandemic, and also you had a cool topic that we hopefully we'll get to today. If not, we'll do it tomorrow, about some iconic pictures in sports. Mm-hmm. You mentioned Jalen Ramsey. He unarchived all of his Jags photos on Instagram.
Yeah.
What do we do? Like, what does that even mean?
I don't know. I don't have Instagram, so I was hoping you would tell me. It was an article on like a sports website.
Yeah, I saw it too.
Okay.
I think on all his social media, he basically took all his Jags pictures off. Mm-hmm. I guess you can archive them, and it shuts them off. Basically mute them, right?
Correct.
Well, he unmuted them, and now they're back. Fournette did this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
There was some talk about him doing it. This is where I think today's athlete gets silly. I really do. Like, I'm not a big, get off my lawn guy, and yesterday's athlete was tougher than you and all that. And we talked a little bit about this yesterday, the sensitivity of today's athlete. Mm-hmm. And this really showcases it. Like, this is tough to defend. Like, you really... You took off all your Jag stuff because you were mad at the Jags? What are you, 13? Like, what are we doing here?
Brett's about to get blocked again.
You're a grown man. I mean, what do we do? Why do you care that much about it? What is this? Does it even register with people? Does it matter? Does it make you feel that much better? I don't get it. But bottom line is, that's the one thing I would say to today's athlete, that they even do that. Mm-hmm. It's very... And I can say this because I have one, but it's teenage girl-esque to me. And by the way, that's not a compliment.
Yeah.
If I'm calling an NFL player teenage girl-esque.
Well, I'm glad I'm not going to have one of those anytime soon. No offense to Kaylee out there.
At least in this instance.
Okay.
But so he does that, and you ask the question, will this fan base ever respect Jalen again? Great question.
Because here's the way I kind of look at it a little bit. Okay, if you take a guy like Brett Favre, who retired and then goes to the New York Jets and then plays for the rival Minnesota Vikings, like Brett Favre was hated. Okay, like there was literally, it was a civil war between, are you a Brett Favre fan or are you a Packers fan? Because guess what? You can't have them both.
No, so sometimes you don't realize which one you are until that player goes.
So either you go be a Vikings fan or you're a Packers fan and it's screw Brett Favre. But then after he finally retired and he was done playing football, I think people started to realize just how much he meant to the community, number one, but how much he meant to the winning culture that was the Green Bay Packers. So my argument is, Jalen Ramsey was here for what, 3 years? 4 years?
Three and
some change. 3 and some change. Well, let's be honest, Brent. He was a big part of them going to the AFC Championship, okay? One could argue that if you didn't have Jalen Ramsey that whole year, do you go to the AFC Championship?
No.
So, exactly. So, my point is that enough to warrant one day down the line, Jaguars fans going to be like, well, you know what? Yeah, obviously the last decade sucked, but at least we had that one great year, that one memorable year, and that most memorable year had a lot to do with Jalen Ramsey. So, does that, I guess, earn him a get-out-of-jail-free card, if you will, where it's like, you know what? We don't like the guy, but maybe down the line, time heals all wounds. Or is it to the fact where it's like, no matter what Jalen Ramsey can do now going forward, no matter what he says on Twitter, Jaguars fans are always going to despise him?
Yeah, it's a great call, and it's a complex one, I think, and there's still so many chapters to be written on his career that I don't know if we're ready to answer that. You take a guy, this is a great dynamic. Take a guy like Jalen, who I think, by the way, was... I don't know if universally beloved, but appreciated, respected because his game was so good, and I think beloved by a lot of Jags fans. I mean, I would guarantee it for those first couple years, few years. And even though the antics and some people didn't like it at times, other people absolutely loved it, because he backed it up. He's a guy, in so many respects in the last few months, we've talked about some of these athletes that you rather have on your team, but you hate him if he's not. And he was that guy. And so he gave the Jacksonville Jaguars, a place where they always feel almost like have a complex about national attention and all this stuff. Jalen gave Jacksonville that. I mean, he was really one of the faces of the franchise, if not the face, on a national level. He was the guy people were trying to knock down the door for interviews. When was the last time, really, there was a guy around here in Jacksonville that the national media wanted to come all the time and talk on their pregame shows, like on CBS and NBC and ESPN and Fox? And by the way, they all the time couldn't get him.
Yeah.
It's like if you wanted to talk to a Jags player, well, he was readily available all the time for the last however many years.
Sure.
Ramsey might stiff arm you. So he became that guy a little bit that was that helped give Jacksonville a little bit of personality, a little bit of swag, and obviously a lot of attention.
And I think the last guy to do that before him may have been Maurice Jones-Drew, but I don't think it was even to that kind of stratosphere with what Jalen had.
No, Jalen had, I would say, Jalen Ramsey gave the Jaguars the most national prominence a player has ever given the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah.
I believe. Now, Minshew might be on the way to doing that.
Sure.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Fred Taylor back in the day, maybe.
Again, you might be able to argue that, and that's a little tougher for me to tell during his heyday.
But it's a different landscape than it was back then in terms of how we cover sports.
I mean, I tweeted a thing of Jalen Ramsey, Steve Smith commentary after that game one time. It's got 2 million views.
Wow. Yeah.
I know it was years ago now, but that's my point. I mean, he transcended the city limits of Jacksonville, the fan base of Jacksonville. He was an NFL personality here in Jacksonville. Maurice Jones-Drew was that. The likeness to Maurice Jones-Drew was because of fantasy football. Mojo became this fantasy football star, and so people knew him. So that's kind of where it's relative in that sense. So from that regard, Jalen was on like a pedestal around here in some respects. And it was a crash and burn off that pedestal with the back, with the I want out of here. And by the way, it happened first with the back because the I want out of here, folks around here, most of them, it was 50-50. It was kind of split. But a lot of them hated the organization for it.
Correct. Yeah.
Well, then the back stuff happened and the departure, and then they hated Jalen Ramsey for it. So to answer your question, I don't think it's a simple one. He never can go to Tennessee and play. If he goes to Tennessee and plays, well, he's the devil. I mean, he is enemy number one.
Yeah.
And maybe in this franchise's history.
Even though that's his hometown, though.
I get it, but you can't go to Tennessee.
There's no leeway. Okay.
No,
okay.
You can't.
Okay.
There's no way he gets that in his grades. And what I started to say was, so there's a guy in Jalen was 3 years here, and now nobody likes him. Let's just say that. That's a blanket statement, but for the most part. You have and he might spend the next 10 years somewhere else. You have a guy that spent 10 years somewhere else, came here for 3 years, and everybody loves him. And that's Calais. And he's now gone on to another team, but people still love him and will always love him.
Correct.
See the difference there, which is interesting. But your question is, can he get it back? Can he gain some of the love, the respect, the appreciation from what he did in 17, 18, 19, how great he was? And I think he'll gain a little bit of that back at times because I also think there's a part of Jalen that will grow up a little bit and maybe show some appreciation back to those years here in Jacksonville. He's not willing to do that right now. He's just as catty about that stuff as the fans are.
Yeah.
He wants to take every shot he can at the organization, not necessarily directed at the fans, but more directed at the dysfunction, if you will, that he believes of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And he's not off that. Look what he does on Twitter sometimes, right? He jumps in on those conversations. But I do think 6, 7, and 8 years down the road, as he becomes more of a veteran guy in the league and is like, yeah, that's way behind me, he might be a little more complimentary to his time here, appreciate even his time. He might. I'm not saying he will. And if he does that, I think that opens the door back up for a reconnection. And in the long run, the organization right now will be blamed once again, maybe then more than right now, will be blamed for the departure of Jalen Ramsey. Because it will always come back to, how did you not keep one of the greatest players? He was on pace to become one of the best players in franchise history. I believe that. I don't think he already gets in that category, but he was on pace to. And 8 years down the road, Jags fans will be like, how did you get rid of him? How did we let somebody like that get away? And that's more organizational fault than player fault.
Yeah.
But I think Jalen has to kind of open that door up a little bit to welcome the fans back in. And he's doing nothing of the sort since he left.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you for the most part. I mean, it stems on if Jalen Ramsey even cares about it, right? Because, like, when you see a lot of these cases happen with professional athletes, it's because they had a lot of great memories, you know, when they're in town. But, like, to be fair,
don't get too emotional about
it. I know, right? But to be fair, Jalen only had that one good memory. You know, he only had that one good season. Everything else was kind of just a wash. So I wonder if, from Jalen's perspective, if it's even trying to worth salvaging, because you know what? Yeah, we had that one good season in Jacksonville. Everything else is kind of a nightmare. So, like, to him, it could be just like, you know, what's the point of him going on my way to try to make things right?
I don't think he will. I don't think he cares that much about it. But he might do it almost by accident later in his career. More on this, more on the pandemic when we come back. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
Gonna give me some of that
Kuz. That's the most impressive thing Kuz has ever done.
Oh, without a doubt.
Here on the show.
That was very nice.
It's the best use of Star 690 ever.
Listen weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. in your car or stream them. ESPN690.com.
We've had our new AC unit from Bold City Heating and Air for over a year now, and the entire experience has been great. Hey everyone, this is Brent Martineau. You can trust Bold City Heating and Air just like my family has. Right now, Bold City Heating and Air is offering easy financing for repairs or new air conditioning units, and a $500 cash rebate for new air conditioning installations. Get 0% financing for 12 months or 9.9% for up to 96 months. Don't put off that new AC unit or repairs. Get it done now before the season really heats up. The Bold City team is focused on your safety and takes maximum precautions to sanitize and create a safe work zone during these times and all the time. For a free no-obligation consultation and price quote, visit boldcityac.com. Your AC unit is an important investment for you and your family. Do what my family did. You can trust Bold City Heating and Air.
Hey, Jacksonville, are you ready for some good news? Right now, you can score tremendous savings during the construction sale at Arlington Toyota. You choose 0 down with low payments or no payments until 2021. Now that's huge. Get to Arlington today, where you can drive away in a Toyota Corolla for $199 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021. That's a pre-owned Corolla for $199 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021. How about a Toyota Camry for $249 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021. That's a pre-owned Camry for $249 a month with 0 down or no payments until 2021. Plus, with Arlington's Credit for Everyone program, if your Beacon score is from 450 to 850, Arlington's getting almost everyone approved. And you get Arlington's 30-day exchange policy on any vehicle you purchase. As always, your safety is Arlington's priority. So go see them today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com. May offers for full details.
They say singing can help you remember things, so here's some tips for parents out there during these tough times.
Number 1.
Make sure your kids wash their hands for 20 seconds after they've coughed or sneezed or been outside.
2.
Virtual play dates, social and physical distancing can help save lives.
3.
Tell them they're safe and show your love and pride. Yes, we'll get through this together. Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
Hello, I'm Chuck Barnes. At Barnes & Cohen, we're pulling out all the stops to protect your health and ours. We have the latest software that enables our staff who are at high risk to work remotely without sacrificing first-class representation. Our offices remain open. We have a sanitized conference room, but maybe your best option, meet us here in our courtyard. Barnes & Cohen will continue to serve you in the safest way possible.
This is a CMG Open for Business report. During these changing times, it's challenging for businesses across North Florida, big and small, but businesses are adjusting to meet your needs in a safe and comfortable way. Here's today's list of businesses that are open for you. Rocky PI Pest Inspector, Hyundai of Orange Park and Westside Hyundai, KT Crafts Handyman, Lloyd's Heating and Air, C&H Marine Construction. If you're open for business, let us know by emailing us at openjax@cmg.com. Together, we're getting through this.
At AutoZone, we've always been here to help you get what you need to go where you need. That hasn't changed. In need of an oil change? Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Castrol GTX high-mileage motor oil and an STP oil filter for just $27.99. And if you need something fast, you can get it fast, your way. Whether it's next-day delivery or free same-day pickup, in-store or curbside, the choice is yours. Get in the zone. AutoZone. Restrictions and details on AutoZone.com.
It's time for some straight talk. Even though most live sports are on hold now, big wireless companies haven't stopped playing games. They're always trying to lock you into overpriced contracts. With Straight Talk Wireless, there are no contracts. It runs on America's best network, same as the big carriers, but you save up to 50%. $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G. You might miss sports, but don't play games, you'll lose. Straight Talk Wireless. No contracts, no compromise.
Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
The one thing I am going to do probably this week is all professional sports are welcome here for practicing and for playing. Now, we're not going to necessarily have fans, but there's been reports that Major League Soccer may want to have their season in Orlando. Do it. We want to have you here. We want to have the basketball practicing again. We would love to have the Major League Baseball. And so what I would tell commissioners of leagues is if you have a team in an area where they just won't let them operate, we'll find a place for you here in the state of Florida because we think it's important and we know that it can be done safely.
That's Governor DeSantis talking about sports in the state of Florida. Arizona's open for business. Florida's open for business. Obviously, the UFC has done some business already here in Jacksonville. Saturday night, a fantastic card, and it went off pretty well. Tonight, another card. Talk about it in just a little bit. And also, Saturday will be a fight card as well at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena right here in Jacksonville. But there's a lot of conversation about NBA in Orlando and in Las Vegas. MLS talking about Orlando. Major League Baseball, they want to do the home stadiums, but will they still have to find some other outlets because some of the stadiums, say in California or wherever else, might not be suitable and ready to go? How will that plan look? And even if you get further down the road to the NFL, there has been some conversation like Las Vegas's new stadium could host a myriad of games because of the LA teams and maybe even the San Francisco 49ers. So, plus the Raiders on top of that. Be really interesting. But what Florida's basically saying is, give me your money and give us the attention and bring it in. I mean, right or wrong, that's what they're saying.
That's what they're
doing. We asked the question, and again, we'll talk about it a little bit more in a bit. Who's going to be first to open the door to team sports? We get UFC, we get the golf, but what about team sports? Who's going to be the first one to take that chance? Well, Florida and Arizona basically said, we'll be the first one. Georgia was right up there, too. They're not saying, hey, come on in and do your sports stuff here. But Florida and Arizona, open arms right now. So it's interesting. We'll see what happens. And I still don't know exactly how much of a moneymaker all that is. You know, UFC, obviously Jacksonville's getting exposure, and they are getting some money out of the deal for a lease to the arena. Without fans, though, you don't get the heads in beds, you don't get the eating and, the spending of dollars. So it's not like the economic boom you would think. It's something, which is maybe better than nothing.
You hope it leads to more down the road. That's the main goal.
But the interesting thing about some of these others, like MLS and Major League Baseball, NBA, it's not going to lead to, what can it lead to? That's different than UFC. UFC, it could lead to something, but the others aren't going to lead to anything.
You're right.
I mean, unless they're going to go host a big event or a neutral site game at some point, but that could be in the works anyway. I think it's more about exposure. I think this, for anybody who works for Visit Florida
on the map. Yeah, exactly. It's putting Florida on the map.
Or Visit Jacksonville.
Yeah. But, I mean, listen, I can see Jacksonville because, yeah, I mean, Jacksonville, I think it kind of gets a bad rap with the Miamis and the Orlandos and everything like that. Like, I think Jacksonville is kind of the third wheel sometimes. So I get it from Jacksonville, but, like, I don't know. I kind of feel like Florida's a big tourist destination already. Like, do you really need to bump up the tourism and say, well, check out Florida. We got something new to offer with sports. I don't know, but just my opinion.
How about this? I mean, this is a one sport town in a lot of respects. And I mean that with all due respect to the other sports. But football is king. And the Jags are king. And there's a lot of Gator fans and college football fans. But the Jags are king. NFL is king. And what's interesting about it is if you bring other sports in, at least in the area or to some degree, whether it is just the practice facilities or training and an NBA team comes down or hockey teams come down, college football, NFL, whatever it might be, you then kind of you almost make Jacksonville for at least a short time a multi-sport town.
Sure.
I don't know if that would resonate. I wonder if that would grow the sports brand in the city of Jacksonville or not, or if it would just kind of feel like this part-time thing, which it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I would probably lean more towards the part-time thing. I always kind of picture Jacksonville as like a one, I mean, with all due respect to, all the minor league teams here, but, it is a football city. It's weird to say, well, yeah, you could bring an NBA team here, an MLB team here, especially with what you've seen in Tampa Bay and how it's worked for the Rays. So I think, listen, any press is good press at the end of the day, I guess. I mean, if you're talking about something, it's probably for the better. So I can see what, the governor's trying to do here. I mean, obviously it's world news right now. So listen, you're taking a risk a little bit, in my opinion, right? Because whenever you're the first person out of the gate, there's going to be some risk behind it. But once again, I come from the standpoint of, all right, it's cool to open professional sports back up in Florida and say, all right, go back to work. But every other city has to be on the same page still to have a season, right? And then that's where we're at right now. So we'll see how it plays out.
Real quick before we get to Kevin about UFC, we asked the question in the last segment. We were talking about Jalen Ramsey. We ever respect, appreciate, like Ramsey? Can you see that happening down the road? Steven says, 0 chance. Thanks for asking. Ray says, shake of the head. Barry says, no. What else we got? Why are we talking Rams players? There is no chance, and heck, Ramsey ever matures enough to accept how he felt he was treated here. No chance. That is one. Appreciate the talent. Yes. Respect or like? Heck no. And that's a dumb question. Red Viking says that's a dumb question.
The honesty.
Edward Nessler says, is this a serious question? No way in hell.
No chance.
And then we get political here.
Yes.
Jalen and Trump have similar personalities. Neither will ever admit a mistake. Just saying. You got me going on this one. Well, glad we got you going a little bit.
Nice.
But we ain't talking politics around here. All right, let's bring in Kevin. He wants to talk a little bit UFC with our analyst. That's you.
Yeah.
Not me. Kevin, what's up, man? Thanks for listening to Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690. We got a fight tonight here in Jacksonville.
Yes, sir. I want to touch on the fight this weekend real quick because it's frustrating to me to hear everybody talk about Conor McGregor. Justin Gaethje versus Khabib is the fight. Justin Gaethje just earned that title fight for winning the interim fight. This was a number one contender fight between Tony Ferguson, who should have already had a title shot, and Justin Gaethje, who just beat the guy who should have had a title shot. And people are talking about, well, Conor McGregor, he should just slip in there because he's a popular. He'll bring in draws. I come from a wrestling background, and it's a tournament format. There's no politics involved. If you want to be the best, you work your way up the bracket. There's meritocracy-based. And I'm sick of people talking about Conor McGregor. What's your guys' thoughts on that?
Kevin, thanks, man. Appreciate it. And it does look like on Fight Island, right? It's going to be Khabib and Conor. No, I thought I saw Dana White
it's going to be Gaethje. Yeah, but there's rumors that Conor McGregor wants to fight Khabib on Fight Island or something like that. I mean, they'll go back and forth. Yeah, listen, Kevin, thanks for calling in, man. Appreciate it. You're absolutely right, okay? And just by hearing you talk, you're an MMA purist, all right? You're a hardcore MMA fan, a guy after my own heart. The problem is that kind of way of thinking has kind of died out, it seems like, the past couple of years in terms of how the UFC handles things, right? Conor is still the cash cow right now. And we see that with the interim championships, the interim belts. You saw what Justin Gaethje did when he got the interim belt. He threw it on the ground. Why? Because it didn't mean anything. But the UFC shoves the interim belts down someone's throat because, well, hey, it's for a championship fight. He's the interim champion. That doesn't really matter because, like you said, it's a bracket format. The champion should be fought and get the belt, and that's it. But now we're combining the interim belts. We're combining sports entertainment with Conor McGregor. And it's a problem. So I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think the fight to make, obviously, is Justin Gaethje and Khabib. I talked about it a year ago where I said I think Justin Gaethje, out of anybody in that weight division, will give Khabib the most problems. If you remember when Khabib fought a guy by the name of Ali Quinta on short notice, Ali Quinta lost a decision to Khabib. But you saw Ali Quinta be able to get off the jab a little bit and use his wrestling to counter-wrestle Khabib. Well, now take Justin Gaethje and times that by 5. Take Justin Gaethje with a full fight camp and see what he does against Khabib. I think you have a special fight right there. So if I'm the UFC, that's the only fight to make, in my opinion. That's what the hardcore MMA fans want. I think that's what the casual MMA fans even want because Gaethje put on a performance against a Tony Ferguson who everyone was scared to fight. And you know what? And I don't care if Tony Ferguson didn't fight it like himself or whatever the reason was, but Justin Gaethje put on a show. And that show deserves to fight for the belt. Now the question is, what do you do with Conor McGregor? Few topics here, few options. You obviously have Nate Diaz 3 if you wanted to go there, but the cool thing about that fight, Nate Diaz 3, is that fight's always going to be there. It's not going anywhere. So take your time on that one. I think right now the only logical thing for Conor McGregor to do would probably be to fight maybe Tony Ferguson. Obviously, he's going to be on the shelf for a while, so you can do Tony Ferguson, McGregor, possibly maybe like a Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor rematch, but I'll agree with you, man. I don't want to see Conor McGregor fight Khabib again because Justin Gaethje's definitely earned that shot.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way. We'll see if he gets it, but I hope we see it as well. I'm not a purist like you guys are in that sense, but I would think he's earned that right to be able to get it, especially after that performance on Saturday night. So UFC is back tonight here in Jacksonville with a little less fanfare, if we're being honest. Is that just because of the card? Is it just obviously you don't have the pay-per-view, you don't have the card, you don't have the hype of being the first time. It just happened on Saturday. So Jacksonville was kind of in the spotlight. It's a midweek event. And it won't gain as much attention. But I'm not even sure this coming Saturdays will gain as much attention. That card was so good. You even said it's one of the best ones ever.
Yep, and it delivered.
It'll be tough to back it up.
Yeah, I mean, so let's just see that you have a couple things here with the UFC. You have UFC pay-per-views, you have UFC fight nights. Right now we're talking about a UFC fight night. So obviously people don't have to pay to watch, this whole card, which means that the card quality may be a little lower than UFC 249 was. So that's just the way it is. But as far as the card overall, Brent, number one, it's sports again, right? So I still think they can ride some momentum in people watching, especially on a Wednesday night where if you're a wrestling fan, you got wrestling, but also during the pandemic right now, not a lot to watch on TV, and it's going to be showcased on ESPN. So I assume the numbers should do pretty well. As far as the card's concerned, if you break down the main card, once again, check your local listings, man, see what time those things pop up. But we talk about the main card, talking about a few fights here. You're talking about the main event, Glover Teixeira, Anthony Smith. Okay, Glover Teixeira has literally, I guess, defied father time. Okay, the guy's 40 years old, all right, and he's had his fair share of fights. He's 30-7, and for whatever reason, he seems to have found the fountain of youth, and he's still performing at a very, very high level. Taking on Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith, kind of like that underdog story. Start off a little shaky, put it all together, fought John Jones. Obviously, John Jones got the best of him in every single round, but Anthony Smith is still a killer. Ended up, quote, you could say, retiring Alexander Gustafsson. We'll see if Gustafsson comes back, but had a great showing against Gustafsson. Two strikers, two guys that can also go to the ground if they want to, but they're both dynamic. They're both very explosive, dynamic, coming in at 205 pounds apiece. So that's going to be the main event, a very intriguing fight. Anthony Smith, 9 years younger, you like his chances, but you can never count out the old seasoned vet in Glover Teixeira. Co-main event, another interesting one between, and these are heavyweights, Brent, we got Ben Rothwell, Ovince St. Preux. Ovince St. Preux, former football player from University of Tennessee, okay? First time fighting at heavyweight. Used to fight at 205, now moving up to the heavyweight division. Didn't like cutting weight anymore. 37 years old, which is a little older.
I don't like cutting weight either.
Yeah, I know. I don't think anybody does, man. 37 years old, not really on the back nine of his career. Actually, probably still in his prime, I would say. He's 24-13, taking on Ben Rothwell from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Ooh. Now, I'm going to save the trouble right now, Brent, because I don't get this text message probably around 9:30, 10 o'clock tonight when Rothwell shows off his skill set. I don't want to get the text message that says, Dude, is Ben Rothwell drunk right now? Because Ben Rothwell has one of the craziest styles you're ever going to see, especially from a heavyweight, okay? I talked about Dominic Cruz a little bit for UFC 249. Well, Ben Rothwell is right up there for crazy styles because he doesn't really have, like, but you think of a stance, right? Like you have your power foot in the back, you have your other foot, you have your lead foot, right? And you're kind of angled. Ben Rothwell does not fight like that. Ben Rothwell, 9 times out of 10, will fight with his feet square. Like he doesn't have any stagger in his stance. So that means that he can throw from southpaw, he can throw from orthodox. It's a very weird style that he's perfected, okay? And keep in mind, he always makes the weight limit at 265, taking on Ovince St. Preux is about 230 right now, so he has the distinct weight advantage. Ovince St. Preux has been known for a lot of his submissions, that they call it the Von Flute choke, but they call it the Von Preux choke as well. Taking on Ben Rothwell, who's obviously 265, I'm curious to see if this fight stays standing or does St. Preux try to take him down, which is going to be a test in itself, obviously, against a big guy like Ben Rothwell. But be sure to check out Ben Rothwell's fighting stance because I don't know how he makes it work. He breaks every rule in the book in terms of striking, but it works for him.
But he gets it done.
He gets it done.
Yeah, sometimes it's so unorthodox.
Exactly.
It helps.
Exactly. Yeah.
So interesting. So we'll keep our eye on that tonight. ESPN Plus, the place to be for the UFC fights live from Jacksonville here on a Wednesday card. And again, the second part of a 3-night event, really, for the UFC in Jacksonville. The next one will come on Saturday. How real quick, is Saturday's card better? Has it got a headliner?
Oh, yeah. So Saturday's card is Alistair Overeem versus Walt Harris. Actually, ESPN's going to run a story, I believe, on Friday about Walt Harris. Walt Harris, actually, his daughter was abducted probably about a year ago, and ended up, they found her body. So they ended up catching the guy that did it, but he was going through that. And that was during a fight camp as well. He ended up backing out of the fight, obviously, all that was going on. So this is like his first fight back from that whole situation. So ESPN, I think they have like an E60 thing on Friday featuring him fighting Alistair Overeem, who's a pretty known guy in MMA.
All right, so we're watching this stuff on Saturday, the card from Jacksonville, and for a couple hours, and the kids are watching, and Steph's watching, and the question I keep getting after I see bloodied face after bloodied face or uncomfortable position after uncomfortable position.
Yeah.
Why? It was like, why?
I have answered this question before.
I know you have. This isn't like this was this unusual question. It must be the most popular question. Like, you were afraid to ask the question a little bit to gauge you when we had him on, right?
Why do you fight?
Why do you fight? Because you guys get tired of those kind of questions, I think.
Yeah.
But I do believe with the UFC kind of in town and getting more eyeballs on it, and I mean, it does beg that question a lot. It's like, why? Because what's interesting, too, is if you've talked about it in the past, it's like most of these guys aren't getting rich off this stuff.
No.
You can play the dangerous game of the NFL, but you can get rich off that now.
Yeah,
I mean, you make a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, and I would say there's a reason why NFL players don't transition to MMA, right? Because you don't make money and you get punched in the face.
Yeah. And listen, I think it's not my... It's not what I would like to do is get punched in the face.
Yeah.
I understand that we're all not alike in that regard, and that doesn't bother some people.
Sure.
Whether it was the kid in high school that didn't mind getting fights, or the guy you knew in college who would get in a fight every time he went to the bar and didn't mind being hit and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Some people are made like that. Me, I kind of like my face, so I don't like it getting hit like that. But I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Hey, nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with that.
I don't think I'm the first person to say that. But
I don't think so either.
But the question of why does kind of, especially to the novice person, the casual fan, the folks just checking it out, I'm just being honest with you, that's what everybody in my house has asked now a couple of times after seeing it. It's like, why? It's not that they don't appreciate it, they don't respect it. I think the toughness and all that, and I know there's always it's like soccer, right? People are like, what the heck? Soccer's boring. Well, not soccer, people. Soccer is not boring. Soccer is a beautiful part about it called a beautiful game.
Of course.
Right? So there's always that. There's a sweet science, if you will, to boxing,
that's what they say about boxing.
UFC.
Yeah.
There is a science to it as well, the different styles. So I guess I get that. But the why is still a palpable question.
So, I mean, listen, I can take this question a lot of ways here. And I'll start by saying this because Joe Rogan eloquently put it like this. In terms of mixed martial arts and stepping in a cage and fighting another man who has been training to beat you up, to knock you out, to inflict pain on you, The sport of MMA is the ultimate problem-solving game with dire consequences. Okay? That's what it is. Like, say, like, you like solving problems. Maybe you like doing Sudoku puzzles, all right?
Okay.
Well, when a guy gets in a cage, he's also solving a problem, right? He's trying to figure out, what is my opponent trying to do? What do I need to do to inflict the most hurt and damage on him and things like that? So it's a game. Okay. Now, I get what you're saying. Well, Austin, I watched UFC 249. This last Saturday, I saw Tony Ferguson get absolutely bloodied to a pulp. Okay. It was gory. It was a blood sport. It was human cockfighting. All these terms. And I say, you lack imagination. Okay. Because I watched that fight. I watched that Tony Ferguson fight, Justin Gaethje fight. And you know what I wanted to do? I wanted to go to the gym that night, man. Like, I was pumped up. I'm like, that was awesome. Like, that's why I do it. It's fights like that. It's glorious fights. And yeah, is Tony Ferguson probably hurting the next day? You better believe it. Is he in JOI right now, man? Probably strapped up to the morphine or something like that? Probably. But people don't realize that you aren't made of glass. And what people don't realize is that the human body can take a lot of punishment, especially when there's adrenaline flowing through it. Now, people don't want to put themselves in those kind of situations to find out, and that's fine, man. That's their prerogative. But when there's fighters in that cage, or when there's fighters in a gym that are sparring and taking damage and inflicting damage, you don't notice it, man. Okay, I'm like, listen, I broke my nose, I broke my hand in a fight, I broke my foot. Didn't know it until I walked away. Didn't know it until it was over. And then I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to need some Advil, going to need some Tylenol after this. But when you're in there, when you're focused, when that adrenaline's flowing, man, it's a crazy feeling. And I wish I could put it into words. I wish I could bottle it and sell it. But the feeling that you get when you're walking out to a cage in front of people at Mavericks, or somebody, at the landing, who used to be 200 people at Mavericks, or you're walking out, when I was in the LFA at the Bomb Factory, that feeling that you get where you walk out to the cage and you're just laser focused on a goal, a singular goal, and you hear that cage lock, and the guy across from you is trying everything in his power to come knock you out and embarrass you. And when you win, and when all that hard work, and you win, there is no feeling like that in the entire world. Not any football game I've ever been a part of, not playing in front of 70, 80 screaming thousand, 70,000 home fans screaming your name. Nothing like that. Nothing will ever compare to just the art form, just the beautiful violence, which is MMA. In my opinion.
I can appreciate it. Yeah, it's a good explanation. I get it. Listen, I kind of get it. I mean, listen, I hurt my foot on the 13th hole the other day, walked off with the 79, and I felt like I had earned it.
I hear you, man. Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I get it.
To Tony Ferguson, Brent Martineau, same category. Let's go. Yeah.
But I do appreciate that people that part of it. Now, to that, I kind of say again, because we're not relatable in the sense you're what I want to say is drop button crazy.
Yeah.
But like you see it in the way you speak about it, or when you have someone like Gaethje on talking about it. What's interesting, though, is I sense, like he said, you asked for the glory.
Yeah.
When you think glory, I think Rocky.
Sure.
I think like everybody talking about you, big paychecks, belts, Conor McGregor.
Of course,
right?
Of course.
But I get the sense more it's guys, the glory kind of within more so than that external glory of accomplishment. More of that sense when you, like I changed the filters on my CGC water Connecticut system yesterday, and it actually did it, and it worked.
Yeah.
That kind of accomplishment.
Exactly.
Because I can't change a light bulb hardly, but I did it. So, I mean, we're talking two different things here, but I'm talking accomplishment to that and you're talking about one of the toughest accomplishments that you could put your mind and body through in this sense of MMA.
Yeah, and it's definitely about, and it's so, I mean, it's so cliche to say, but it really is about the destination, okay? And, we had Justin Gaethje on, and Justin Gaethje's been quoted many times. One could say Justin Gaethje right now is the baddest man on the planet, okay? But Justin Gaethje has said many times that when he walks to the cage, he's scared. He's scared for his life, man. And if any fighter tells you there's not a sense of maybe you're scared a little bit, well, guess what? That fighter's lying. Because every fighter has that anxiety. Every fighter, the night before a fight, they can't sleep. They toss and turn because they know what's about to happen. But, like, it's that, like, uncomfortability that you relish. Like, you can't get enough of it, Like, I think a lot of time people get complacent and people don't get to feel, the adversity or stress. And they just get so complacent where you don't grow as a human. You know, like, that's what makes Justin Gaethje so great is he understands that. Like, Justin Gaethje, yeah, he's fighting for a championship eventually. He's making a lot of money. He's getting all these fight of the night bonuses, but it's his self-growth that he's all about. And that's why I'm in it too as well. Like, yeah, do I want to win a belt one day and go to the UFC? You bet your ass I do. But I've learned more, you know, in MMA now for the past 3 or 4 years than I have playing team sports probably my entire life. Okay. And I'm willing to sacrifice my well-being and my personal health to maybe take off a couple years of my later years just so I can improve myself right now where I stand. And then that's just my opinion. Now, not everyone's going to agree with that, and that's fine. But that's just how I live my life.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Well said, and I'd be more willing to do that if you gave me like a couple $1 million so I could spend it. But I got a question. We're going to go to a break. So when we come back, I asked this question on social media. I wonder what people think. But we'll really get your thoughts because you've done both. Mm-hmm. And which one is more violent? We see the broken orbital bone.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we see that bloodied up face, hand to face, foot to face, knee to face, elbow to face.
Oh, yeah.
Knocks in the head. But which is more dangerous? Which is more violent, really, and maybe dangerous to the human body?
Yeah.
You've played two of the most dangerous things you can do, violent things you can do. That is in the NFL and now MMA. I'd like to get your perspective on that, and then a couple more thoughts on where we are with this pandemic, with MLB, NBA. Who's going to be the first to make the leap? And also Scott Boras's world, which is Major League Baseball, how he impacts that. So a couple things to get to in the last segment here on a Wednesday. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. We'll fight right to the end.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert Forecast on ESPN 690.
Becoming mostly clear tonight, temperatures dropping to around 60, partly sunny and pleasantly warm tomorrow, your Thursday high in the low 80s. For the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jack's Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
Weather is brought to you by Beards Diamonds. Right now, get 5 years, 0 interest financing on anything in the store. Beards Diamonds.
Sometimes it's a battle. Oh, those allergies here in the Southeast. Hey, everyone, this is Brent Martineau. I know all about the allergies, and it seems like we are always in allergy season around here. Right now, Bold City Heating and Air is offering air conditioning system sanitizing with pricing starting at $125. Sanitizing your air conditioning system will ease up allergens getting into your home through your air conditioning system. And as much time as we are all spending working from home lately, it's time to get your AC system sanitized. Contact Bold City Heating and Air today to get more information on their air conditioning sanitizing special. Just go visit boldcityac.com. If you need a new AC unit, Bold City has 0% financing options and rebates as well. Up to 0% financing for 12 months or 9.9% for up to 96 months. Do what my family did. See my friends at Bold City Heating and Air to make things more comfortable in your home. Just go visit boldcityac.com.
Chronic or acute pain doesn't just disappear during a crisis, and neither does Cora Physical Therapy. Throughout this time, Cora remains dedicated to your health and safety. With 15 Jacksonville area clinics, Cora Physical Therapy provides quality care wherever you're most comfortable. In clinic, where we disinfect after every touch. Telehealth gives you remote access to licensed therapists, or Cora therapists will even come to you. We are grateful for our patients' trust and our clinicians' bravery. What matters most is your health, so Cora provides care anywhere you prefer it. Learn more at coraphysicaltherapy.com.
Hello, I'm Chuck Barnes. At Barnes & Cohen, we're pulling out all the stops to protect your health and ours. We have the latest software that enables our staff who are at high risk to work remotely without sacrificing first-class representation. Our offices remain open. We have a sanitized conference room, but maybe your best option, meet us here in our courtyard. Barnes & Cohen will continue to serve you in the safest way possible.
These days, the whole world is on the internet 24/7, on their phones, at work, even at the dinner table. It's the internet all the time. So why, when it's time to sell your home, does your traditional agent charge you 6% to list it on the MLS to other agents instead of targeting buyers directly online? That's why Rex was born. For a fee starting at 2%, Rex sells your home where buyers are looking, online, optimized by data-driven marketing, not the MLS. To get started, visit sellwithrex.com. That's sellwithrex.com. With Rex, selling or buying a home has never been easier. Price your home, get a virtual consultation, visit online open houses and showings, all from the comfort of your home with a few clicks of a button. Want to learn more? Visit sellwithrex.com or just use your phone and call 833-REX-HOME. 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-739-4663. License number CQ 1057788. Minimum fee may apply. Rex fully supports the principles of the Fair Housing Act and Equal Opportunity Act.
Hello?
Hey, boss, how's it going?
Hanging like a hermit.
I hear you. Hey, how's your mom doing? I know you're worried because she lives alone and all.
She's good, thanks. Every night she's getting dinner delivered. And every night she answers the door with her SafeTouch security app.
Ah, no contact delivery.
Yeah, and SafeTouch cameras are encrypted with all kinds of safeguards.
Yeah, you don't see headlines about SafeTouch systems getting hacked.
Exactly. Can't believe I'm saying it, but I just feel better knowing she has SafeTouch. She's got her emergency buttons, her two-way communicator, the guaranteed response time.
Boss, sounds like you have a love-hate relationship with SafeTouch.
It's complicated. Because being crooks and all, we still gotta stick to the Crooks R Us motto. Stay away from SafeTouch houses. Yeah, the struggle is real.
Crooks know to stay away from SafeTouch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of SafeTouch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call SafeTouch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
What occasion have you missed because of the COVID crisis? A birthday? Anniversary? A proposal? Now you can make it better. Beards Diamonds announces our most exciting financing offer ever.
Get 5 years zero-interest financing on anything and everything. How about a $6,000 Tacori or Veragio ring? You pay just $100 a month. Or a pair of diamond studs for $3,000? You pay just $50 a month.
Beards Diamonds, locally owned at the St. John's Town Center or beardsdiamonds.com.
Out of sight, out of mind still holds true. When things disappear from your day-to-day life, you think about them less and less. This includes your business. Yes, things are difficult, but if your customers aren't thinking about you now, how can you be sure they will be when this is past? At Cox Media Group Jacksonville, we make sure they will. We'll help you stay on the mind of your customers and even get into the mind of some new customers. Contact CMG Jacksonville at 245-8732 or email buildjax@cmg.com and let's build Jax.
Hey Jacksonville, are you ready for some good news? Right now, you can score tremendous savings during the construction sale at Arlington Toyota. You choose 0 down with low payments or no payments until 2021. Now that's huge. Get to Arlington today, where you can drive away in a Toyota Corolla for $199 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021. That's a pre-owned Corolla for $199 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021. How about a Toyota Camry for $249 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021. That's a pre-owned Camry for $249 a month with 0 down or no payments until 2021. Plus, with Arlington's Credit for Everyone program, if your Beacon score is from 450 to 850, Arlington's getting almost everyone approved. And you get Arlington's 30-day exchange policy on any vehicle you purchase. As always, your safety is Arlington's priority. So go see them today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com. May offers for full details.
Take care of your family by having clean, purified water. With a Connecticut system from CGC Water, you can remove up to 99% of contaminants. The team at CGC is taking extra precautions with in-home visits, offering no-contact sales and service appointments, and CGC has extended their current promotion. Buy a Connecticut Premier Softener and save 50% on a K5 reverse osmosis drinking water system. Connecticut Premier Softeners are non-electric and have twin tanks, making them super efficient, and they use less salt. And remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. We'll test your tap water so you can better understand what's in your water so you can make more informed decisions about what you're drinking. It's free and there's no obligation to buy anything. Schedule your water test and get peace of mind from knowing more about your water. CGC has financing available with approved credit. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Serving Northeast Florida and Southeastern Georgia. CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Connecticut dealer.
Hello?
Hey, boss.
Why are you calling me?
Well, I was gonna come over, but I thought I should be practicing social distancing.
Oh, that's responsible of you.
Thanks. So I'm calling because I want to read you this new article in the Crooks of Us newsletter.
If it's about Safe Touch security, I don't want to hear it.
Boss, you'll want to hear this. The headline reads, Safer at Home with Safe Touch Security.
Safer at home with Safe Touch?
Yeah, it says, with people staying home more than ever these days, Safe Touch Security is the answer for peace of mind at home.
Yeah, the guaranteed response time, the two-way communicator, the video monitoring.
Yeah, and more.
Great. So what you're telling me is, whether they're home or not, the Crooks of Us motto is stronger than ever. Stay away from Safe Touch houses.
It's written in stone, boss.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
We here at J. David Tax Law wanted to let our community know that we are here to help individuals and businesses with tax debt issues during the coronavirus event. The United States government has issued a $2 trillion economic stimulus package. The IRS has been tasked with collecting an unprecedented amount of tax debt to fund this historic initiative. If you owe a tax debt, there are new programs available that can help reduce or eliminate your IRS or sales tax burden. These programs expire on July 15th, 2020. So if you have federal or sales tax debt, payroll taxes, bank levies, wage garnishments, tax liens, or unfiled returns, we are here for you and your family. Call J. David Tax Law now for a no-cost consultation at 904-507-4777. That's 904-507-4777. Or go to jdavidtaxlaw.com. Greater peace of mind is only a click or a phone call away.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from Action Sports Jackson, ESPN 690. Social distancing doesn't mean disconnecting. If you're working from home, keep tabs on the world of sports and Action Sports Jacks on your smart speaker. Tell your Amazon Echo or Google Home, play ESPN 690.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jack.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anna Jar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Bird guarded by Mahorn. Drives around him. And the ball gets knocked out of bounds by A. No, they call it the other way.
It's a Detroit ball with 5 seconds to go. Thomas wants to get it in quickly.
Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ. Lays it in. Right up 1 second left. What a play by Bird. Bird stole the inbounding pass. Laid it up to DJ. DJ laid it up and in.
Oh, I just got goosebumps.
Could you imagine the call this past season with Larry Bird riding the pine as the Toronto Raptors won the NBA championship because his game doesn't translate well to the modern era NBA? Oh, hey, I got goosebumps, Brent. I got goosebumps.
I just got goosebumps. Johnny Most. What a great play. Gosh, I can very few play. I'm not I don't have too many plays that I remember like almost every image of. That is one. I don't know if it's because I've seen it so many replays of it now, or it was just that vivid in my memory bank. Heck, I was only, must have been like 9 years old at that time. I think that would have been during that season. And maybe it was a little later than that year. But anyway, Larry
87?
Bird. It was 87. So I was thinking 86, so I would have been 10.
What month? Obviously in the summertime? Or
Conference
June.
finals. I don't know when they would have done that.
June.
Yeah, I
Or
wasn't born
May
yet.
or June, I guess. Yeah.
I wasn't born yet. Couldn't appreciate it. Sorry.
Yes, you
Sorry.
can. Maybe
Sorry.
you should go back
Couldn't
and watch a
appreciate
little
it.
more small-town Larry Bird highlights,
Listen,
all right?
I said it on
John
Twitter,
Cougar
man.
Mellencamp.
You tagged me in a highlight video of Larry Bird playing with his opposite hand, showboating, hot dogging, by the way. So
What did he score that night with his opposite hand? Said I'm going to play lefty the whole time?
Yeah.
Scored like 47?
And what did I say? Can you imagine trying to pedal sneakers where you had to play with your opposite hand because you can't dunk a basketball to try to sell shoes? So you have to come out. That'd be like LeBron James saying, well, you know what? I can't dunk a basketball. I'm not that athletic. So tonight I'm playing left-handed, and I'm hopefully going to sell some LeBrons from Nike. Hopefully that works out because I got to set my game up a little
Can't
bit.
wait for an NBA player to start saying these shoes are great when you have to take like a rest day.
Load management shoes.
Yeah,
That's right.
these are my load management
You should
shoes.
sell flip-flops.
Yeah.
That would be perfect.
Shoes.
They call them the load management twos.
But let's be honest, though. I mean, and I hate to pile on your boy, but here we are again. Is there any worse, I guess, endorsement from an NBA superstar than a Larry Bird, where it's like, he get a shot 3-pointers in Timberlands and would have been fine. Like, what was the big deal about Converse? And Converse said that, hey, Michael Jordan, thanks for stopping by, but we're all set. We got Magic Johnson. We got Larry Bird. We don't need you. Like, what sold shoes for MJ was the fact that, yeah, he was a great player, obviously, but the guy could dunk, man. Like, the guy did things that he never saw before.
Curry sells shoes. He doesn't really dunk.
Yeah, but does Curry sell shoes, though?
I think so,
like
with Under
LeBron?
Armour?
But it's not LeBron, though, man.
No, there's not LeBron, but, I mean, he still sells
I mean, let's
shoes.
Let's look it up a little bit. Let's see what Curry sells.
I'm getting you a pair of the 1986 Converse Weapons.
Oh, dude, I have them already at my mom's house.
You already have Larry Bird shoes, then.
Oh, they're actually blue, so they're not Larry Bird shoes.
Oh, those are Larry Bird's.
Whoa. They weren't
just a
Larry
different
Bird's
color.
pro model.
You are wearing Bird shoes.
Hey, the last time I checked, they were called the Converse Birds. Okay, they're called the Converse Weapons. Okay,
so 1986 Converse Weapons.
No, yeah,
Bird,
exactly.
Baby.
No, they're not the Larry Birds anything.
He's a closet Larry Bird.
Larry Bird wasn't that good to have his own sneaker.
Larry
Bird wasn't that good to have his own sneaker. He had to go with the Converse Weapon. Couldn't call it the Converse Bird because you weren't good enough because you couldn't sell the shoes.
Oh man, he's turning Larry Bird into the most underrated player of all time. ESPN came out with their list of players, and Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant behind Larry Bird, I think it was. Tim Duncan ahead of Kobe Bryant. I was a little surprised to see it because I thought in a lot of these modern-day lists, and especially given this past year, I was a little surprised to see Duncan ahead of Bryant. I think I saw that correctly. I think it was Duncan ahead of Bryant. And to be honest with you, I was even a little surprised to see Bird ahead of Bryant.
Yep. Kuz, real quick, this past season, Kyrie Irving sold more shoes than Steph Curry. So, now, anyways,
he's
Kyrie
the whole
Irving?
season.
Yeah, he's got plenty of time to sell them.
Kyrie Irving, though?
Well, yeah, the Kyries, those are more popular anyway, but I would say Curry literally, dropped off the face of the earth because of the injury.
I mean, I love Brent's trying to make a strong point here. I'm all concerned about shoes. We'll get into that in a second. All right, let's go back to Brent's point here. Okay, so in terms of where do you put Kobe, and where do you put Tim Duncan? See, here's the thing. If you're asking me off the top of my head, obviously I'm saying Kobe, man. I mean, I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. I don't know championships, I think Kobe's got them beat, right? You'd think?
I think he does,
Yeah. All-star appearances, all that stuff, the points per game, whatever. But, if you just sit here, who's the better player? Dude, I'm going Kobe all day. It's Kobe Bryant. It's the Mamba mentality. But what hurts Tim Duncan in the conversation is Tim Duncan was Mr. Fundamental, all right?
Boring.
He was never really that entertaining to watch. The guy still got the job done, but to put Tim Duncan ahead of Kobe Bryant, man, it's pretty ballsy, I think.
Yeah, it's. I don't think many people would say that, but I think if you then dissect the numbers in the game, the accomplishments, it might add up okay.
Yeah.
But, they were going to move some people around to make it a little controversial anyway, you figured. And Kobe will automatically get extra love right about these days, so, given what happened here in 2020. All right, we got a few minutes left in the show and a lot to get to. We were talking UFC. One final thought there. UFC or NFL? More violent, more dangerous? You played them both.
Yeah. So, both are violent, right? But when you say, which one's more violent, I think of, which one takes more of a toll on your body.
And that's fair enough. You've done it, so that's a good way to define it.
So that's how I'm going to define it. And if you ask me that question and to answer it truthfully, I'm saying NFL all day is a lot more violent and a lot more taxing. And that could be surprising, to a lot of people. But the way I look at it is an NFL game, I mean, you take damage and everything, but where do you do the damage is in practice and during training camp, all right? Because I compare it like this. In MMA, if you're in a training camp, you maybe spar hard once or twice a week. The rest, it's skill work, you do some grappling, but the risk of injury, when you walk out of the gym, you're in a pretty good headspace, okay? I remember my rookie year in the NFL where I would be in training camp, I'd get done with practice, I'd go to the locker room, and I have the biggest headache of all time. And I have the headache when I'm sleeping, and so I just chase it down with some ibuprofen, wake up the next morning, cool, headache's still there. And I have a headache for 3 straight weeks. Okay, now is that healthy? Probably not.
No, it might be called a concussion.
Yeah, but what are you going to do? You're going to say I have a headache, I can't practice today? No, it's just, and listen, that's another debate for another time of how those things should be handled. But all I'm saying is I took a lot more wear and tear on my body playing football than I will probably ever have in MMA. And keep in mind, I've broken my toe, I've broken my hand, I've broken my nose, I've had numerous injuries, but nothing compares to the way that I used to feel during training camp, where I just felt like I'm literally just going through the motions right now. Like I'm just trying to make it through another day. I've never had that feeling one time in MMA. So to answer your question, football.
You just brought up something really interesting to finish off this point. Is you said, what are you going to tell somebody you have a headache? Mm-hmm. Well, that's because you have to tell somebody. Mm-hmm. You have teammates, you have coaches, you have trainers, you have this almost like the responsibility to the fans in essence. I'm not saying you don't have some of those responsibilities, but you have less of the pressure of those responsibilities, I think, on you maybe in MMA because it's considered an individual sport. I know it's your camp. Yeah. But if you do have a headache or something like that, and you now have it for 2 or 3 days in MMA, you could say, hey, listen, I ain't sparring today. Of course. We got a workout in and all this stuff, but I ain't sparring today.
And that happens all the time, bro.
But you can't really say, hey, I'm out of this drill today in practice, or I'm not playing on Sunday in football.
Especially when we're trying to make a team. Like with MMA fighting, you're always going to have fights, okay? And as long as you have that communication with your coaches, you're always going to be put in the best stages to succeed, right? If you have a headache, all right, man, sit out today. Maybe when sparring a little too hard yesterday, let's go ahead and sit out. Let's just do some light stuff and make sure you get back to 100%. Football? Are you kidding me? I have a headache? You're going to report a headache? No, because you know why? You get out the little pen, get out the little clipboard, and you say, all right, well, concussion symptoms, and that goes on your record. And you know what? And if you're trying to find a new team and you're on kind of the outside looking in, think team's going to bring you in? No, absolutely not. So you suck it up. You chase the headaches down with whatever pain pill you can find, and you go to work. And then that just, it is what it is. Now, maybe the game has changed in the 6 or 7 years since I've been in a locker room, but I'll be honest with you, I kind of doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it too. Interesting point when it comes to the similarities and differences on the toll of the body, at least, in the NFL and the MMA. Okay, we're going to really switch and hit on a couple topics before the end of the show, just to wrap things up. We started the show today talking a lot about the pandemic and where sports is, and I just admittedly said I feel worse about sports firing back up on all cylinders than I did even last week or 2 weeks ago. I don't know exactly why that is. Whether I'm reading more about it or there's not the NFL schedule coming out to tell me now that a season's starting, or UFC is coming to Jacksonville, so I feel like things are opening. But listen, if Florida here, the doors are opening. Whether it's to pro sports like Governor DeSantis said today, come on in. You can practice and play if the time is right. Life is getting a little bit back to normal, if you want it to, here in Jacksonville and the state of Florida. That's not across the country. But I still feel a little bit differently the last day or two about the NBA, Major League Baseball, and even NFL, and especially college sports, the entire landscape, but especially college football, firing back up. I don't know what's changed my opinion so much, but I'm like an eternal optimist that all of a sudden in the last 36 hours has a little pessimism to him when it comes to this.
Yeah, I think someone had a little Zoom call with our friend Donald Trump and doesn't want to admit it, and that's fine. And that's fine. That's your prerogative. You don't have to say that you and Donald Trump are boys. That's okay. I'll take it from here, Brent. Listen, I think we share the same, I don't want to say gloomy skies here, but I think we share the same mindset from when we say no one's on the same page right now, right? Like, great, Florida opened up. Fantastic. Good. Arizona's going to open up. But I think we need the entire country to be on the same page to make this thing work. You just can't have one person doing their own thing over here, another person doing the exact opposite over there. Like, things don't get done that way. Things don't get done in business. Things don't get done in a locker room. And things don't get done in a country. I think that's the way it's going to be. So until everyone's going to be on the same page of how we're going to go forward, I just can't foresee it happening. Once again, just my opinion, but I think it holds some ground.
Well, you asked yesterday. I asked, is Scott Boras bad for baseball? Speaking of baseball starting up, and they're in negotiations right now. That's the latest. There's a plan, but they haven't really talked money. And once they talk money, I feel like Scott Boras will be a big part of it because he's kind of the money guy for the players on so many levels. And the players are going to be asked to take less money and this 50-50 revenue split, given no fans in 2020. They haven't got to that part. They could say it could take 2 to 3 weeks for negotiations of whatever will take place, and that's if it takes place here in 2020. I said yesterday briefly, and then I looked it up a little bit more today and read about it, and I kind of feel a little differently on this. I say, is Scott Boras bad for baseball? Well, at face value, I would say, come on, the contracts have ballooned. He's got all the chess pieces, all the big names. They're all coming to him, so he knows where this guy's going. And I'm not saying he uses a player for a pawn in his game, but he could if he wants to. And he has a lot of power as an agent. And I feel like sometimes that's a little too much. It feels almost totalitarian, if you will, on the agent side.
Nice word, by the way.
Thank you. I was trying to spit that one out. That's a big Scrabble word for the day. But I read a little bit more about it, and it actually is maybe better serve the question you asked yesterday when we brought this up. Is it really the organization's fault? Is it the Yankees' fault? Maybe the Red Sox for paying those kind of dollars, the Dodgers, Texas Rangers for giving Alex Rodriguez $250 million. Boris's job is to get the guys as much money as he can and to favor the players as much as he can. These are billionaires and millionaires, and they just want a piece of the pie, no different than the NFL players who we've said, you know what, they maybe do deserve a little bit more piece of the pie. So I guess I've backed off on my dislike so much for Boras, although I do think in this time frame, I don't really need that player-owner juxtaposition. They need to do whatever's best for the sport. They kind of have to. This is one time frame, this bit where baseball can't afford a black eye. If you're a baseball fan, it can't afford a black eye. And so do whatever you got to do behind closed doors, argue if you will. But in the public, I really don't need Boras saying, hey, screw the owners and the players should get all this. And I don't think that's the time for it in this front.
Yeah, so to answer your question, is Scott Boras bad for baseball? And I go from the classic standpoint of don't hate the player, hate the game, all right? We're all products of our own environment. And the environment that Scott Boras has come from, the environment was set up to make the most money, okay? Since I was a kid, it was ingrained in me that the New York Yankees suck. The New York Yankees suck. The Milwaukee Brewers will never win because we don't have enough money. The New York Yankees buy all their championships. That was my childhood. In a nutshell, okay? People in Wisconsin, they hated the New York Yankees. I think everybody in every single state besides New York hated the New York Yankees. So that was always ingrained in me, okay? And it was that big market baseball. So do I hate Scott Boras or do I think he's ruining the baseball game because of what he brings to the table? Absolutely not, because this goes way before Scott Boras, okay? One could say that baseball, they have a money problem, okay? But Scott Boras, he is not the virus that causes it. He's just the guy that tries to make the best of the situation. So I think the game, or I think the problem lies more with how the game has been handled more than Scott Boras.
Yeah, I think this is an unusual circumstance, but you got to remember now, go back a couple years ago, and Boras has a ton of these guys out there, and Bryce Harper and all these guys. And remember, they were like 2 weeks into training camp or 2 weeks from spring training, and nobody was signed. They had all these free agents that were still signed. It was basically Major League Baseball was digging their heels in. I think they have their the latest CBA is expired in 2021. So this could be a huge player, whatever happens over the next 3 months, 6 months, 12 months into 2021. I think I read that correctly. So Boras is such a key player of this. Again, this is less about Boras right now, less about the players, less about the owners. It's more about baseball. Do what's best for baseball. Just get on the field and do it in the right way. Hopefully everybody gets a little bit piece of the pie. But like I said yesterday, that pizza is smaller than it's ever been.
Yeah, it has.
In that respect.
And listen, this just comes back to my thesis that I've been preaching all day. We have to get on the same page here. And I get it. It's not easy, man. All right. It's not easy because people want different things.
Not in this climate. There's a lot of red state, blue state lineup. And that's not going away.
It's almost impossible. Let's be honest. It's almost impossible to get on the same page right now. But I truly think that if you want the longevity of professional sports to last in this climate, you need that, man. All right. There has to be some kind of compromise or some kind of, come to Jesus moment, whatever it is. But people have to get back on the same page.
Let's end with this. We'll do a little bit more on the college sports angle tomorrow that I want to dive into. We did earlier in the show some as well. But I want to finish today with who will be the first team sport to jump back in? Major League Baseball, NBA, or will football play before both of them? Because there's a thought here that I think if we have a football season, people will feel like, okay, life's somewhat normal.
Yeah.
I might be overvaluing football. Maybe in all parts of the country it's not like that, but especially with the NFL, it's like, okay, if we have the NFL, then it feels like life is normal. If we don't, it's like, whoa.
Well, I
and
hope
that could
so.
impact everything. But
yeah.
It impacts our world. I'm trying to take it outside of our world and saying, okay, does my mom feel the same way? Probably
well,
not.
I mean, I'm sure my wife would be stoked because, I don't have to watch the NFL Red Zone anymore or anything like that. No more fantasy football. So she'd be pretty excited.
Is it a fair barometer to say that? I mean, if we have football, do we feel better?
Correct.
About where we are with the pandemic, economically, our jobs, society, anything. I mean,
Listen,
is that trivial?
No, you're absolutely right. We're creatures of habit. Okay. And like the football season, it's always been there. And people turn to football to, take their mind off whatever their jobs, their family, whatever it is. But people turn to football for entertainment and to just, have something to believe in, something to support. You take that away. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be an issue. So,
do you think football beats baseball or NBA back? Or is it the NBA or MLB that kind of sets the trend? Who's going to be first to dip the toe in the team sport pond?
So I think MLB probably has the best shot of coming back because right now with NBA, you're talking playoffs right now, right? You're probably talking the end of the season, the playoffs, or anything like that. With MLB, there's still a lot of season to salvage. And don't forget, this all started with the NBA in the first place. Okay, the NBA was at the forefront of saying, let's cancel all this stuff down. Let's shut it down, guys. So
that was a cause and effect there. They had players that tested positive.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be MLB.
Yeah, I think the timeline adds up to MLB. I think the question is, does it get muddy and they can't get it done by July 4th? And if they can't get it done by July 4th, well, then you run out of time for a season. Mm-hmm. Then it might just be better to scrap the season if you can't get things going until mid-August. And what kind of season could you have? Well, then that would bring in the NBA who says, hey, we could go all the way to Labor Day if we need to before we get this thing rolling.
Yeah.
And then the NFL, do they go off on time?
Well, start getting your knowledge in esports, Brent.
Video game playing is up.
Yeah.
What's his name just came out with a new one on his 52nd birthday.
Talking about Tony Hawk?
Tony Hawk.
Talking about my dude Tony Hawk?
Yeah.
I see you, Brent.
See that?
I see you, Brent.
We're all playing video games now.
Well, that doesn't change for me and Coos.
3-hour video game tomorrow on Action Sports Jackson on ESPN 690. It'll be a hell of a show. I'll see you on TV tonight, CBS 47 and Fox 30. Thanks for hanging with us, everybody.
Sunday on The Last Dance.
This is something that we never thought would ever happen.
The last night.
We're entitled to defend what we have until we lose it.
The last word.
If I had a chance to do it over again, I probably wouldn't change it.
The last shot.
Pulls down one. Jordan.